It is semi-final Saturday in the CFL, and it kicks off in Montreal where the Alouettes and Tiger Cats go head-to-head for the third straight year in the Eastern semi-final. A date with the Argos on the line. And of course, all the talk coming into this game surrounding the quarterback situation. That is game number one. Game number two, we head west to BC Place as the Lions host the Calgary Stampeders for the second year in a row, with the winner off to face the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. And we are so early for game time, but VA, he's already on the field by himself, visualizing maybe a big BC win. Montreal has had Hamilton's number during the regular season, a perfect 3-0 against the Tiger Cats, but Hamilton gaining momentum down the stretch. They are hoping that they have saved their best football for last. It is our first of two games on semi-final Saturday. We're used to being on Sundays, but it's kind of nice being a day early, isn't it? Get to spend some time with the entire crew today and with you at home as well. Welcome to semi-final Saturday. Kate Brown alongside Davis Sanchez, Matt Dunnigan, Milt Stiegel, and you know it's a big day when we have Paul LaPolice and Jim Barker in the background. We'll promise we will involve them at some point in this show. We've got an hour-long pregame, so much to catch up on, and especially the later game in the West. But right now, we are concentrating on the Montreal Alouettes, taking on the Hamilton Tiger Cats and Matthew Shinetti. As I said off the top, the big news coming into this game is who is going to be starting at QB for Hamilton. We know it will be Matthew Shiltz, but Orlando Steinhauer has said he'll be using both him and Bo Levi Mitchell today.
You know what I would say, Kate, that we think we know it's Matthew Shiltz. And funny enough, Taylor Powell is actually standing right here. And I said, Taylor, you can do this hip because there's been so much secrecy about what's going on in the quarterback position. And he said to me, I can't. I'll get in trouble. So let's go with what we know. Earlier this week, there was a closed practice. And Matthew Shiltz and Bo Levi Mitchell came out when the news was that both quarterbacks will be playing at some point. But then as you get later into the week, and usually the quarterback that's taking the first team reps, well, they're usually the quarterback that starts. And that was Matthew Shiltz. And then as we got to some of our pre-broadcast interviews yesterday, Orlando Steinhauer was very mum on everything going on, saying that we're keeping everything in-house. Our rationale is our own, and that has been the way the Ticats have played it so far to start warm-up. Now, I say we don't know because the depth chart says Matthew Shiltz is going to come out, and if he runs out, sure. But I've followed the Hamilton Tiger Cats for over a decade, and they have done this before back in the 2013 East semifinal, and we thought Henry Burris was going to be playing the whole game, and then Jeremiah Masoli started to run out, coincidentally, against the Montreal Alouettes. But as for Matthew Shiltz, all indications in the locker room are his game day prep before a playoff game, and he did, remember, come off the bench last year when they lost the East semi here, threw 127 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 pick. He is just cool as ice. There's really nothing particular about his preparation. I did speak to Bo Levi Mitchell, however, and he said to me, I am locked in. I'm going to support how I have to support. And then I asked him, well, do you feel like an underdog right now? And he looked me right in the eye and said, well, doesn't matter if I'm an underdog. I can tell you, when I go in, my switch is flipped. We'll see, Kate.
Well, now I'm more confused than ever, so this is great. I've been looking at the depth chart the entire time, just assuming that it'll be Matthew Shiltz, but let's assume it is Shiltz, and then we do see Bo for a lot of this game as well. I'll start with you, Matt.
Yeah.
As a quarterback, do you like what they're doing in this game?
No. As a quarterback, you want to know who's starting, and I think that's probably been already communicated. We just don't know. But so I think they're locked and loaded, and I think it's going to be Matthew Shiltz for a number of reasons. Bo Levi Mitchell, as much as we love the guy, he's a colleague of ours for the last couple of years. He's just a likable guy. His experience he brings to the table. Yeah, there's a lot of plus side there, but we hadn't seen that regularly and consistently over the last 3 to 4 years. Yes, largely due to injury. Matthew Shiltz brings a lot to this football team right now, because with the running game, and needing to pound the football, he brings them an aspect of offense where you have to contain him, opens up holes in the middle for STE, and of course James Butler, who'll be touching the rock a lot. I think it's a benefit for this football team to have Shiltz in there with his athletic ability, the way things haven't been going for Bo Levi Mitchell.
Right.
I think this is a pretty easy call for Scott Milanovich and Orlando Steino.
I don't like the fact, I'm not concerned with who they're going to announce as their starter. I don't like the fact that you're saying we're going to play both quarterbacks. I don't like the fact because as a quarterback, and Matt, you understand this, quarterbacks, they thrive on confidence, knowing that the coach believes in them, knowing that the team believes in them. And now you're telling your young quarterback who's never started a playoff game before, his first playoff start, that you're going to get taken out of the game at one point. So now he's thinking like, is this it for me? If I make a mistake, am I going to be taken out? Well, if he goes out there and ball, he's not going to be taken out. Now, Bo Levi Mitchell was thinking, what about me? I got a quote from Hamilton Tiger Cat great Brandon Banks, one of their greatest receivers, who said, as a receiver going to the most important game of the year, I don't want to hear both playing start one until he struggles and pulls him out. So I don't agree with this. I don't understand it. And if it was me, I'm going to start one guy. Even if that is the game plan, that quarterback isn't going to know that because that confidence is taken away.
Yeah, I think Orlando is going to do exactly what you're saying that you want to be done, which is play the number one guy. He's going to start the game, Matthew Shiltz, and if he has success, it'll be his team. If he struggles because they have, no definitive starter right now, then they'll go to the backup. And I believe that's the right way to do this. And also, I think for us as fans and for anybody around the league, Bo Levi Mitchell is a guy who's had a great career. So the storyline of Bo in a huge situation, Bo under this pressure in a spotlight, those of us who want to know, does he still have anything left? Does he still have some of that Bo magic in the big spots to be a big-time player? Well, we're not going to get to find out. And I think that, for all of us, is difficult, but the decision is right.
Unless he runs out on the field. As Matthew then all of a sudden, the stars rise to the occasion. This will be absolutely fascinating no matter what today. So let's talk about Matthew Shiltz. He went 41 for 57, 676 yards, 5 TDs, 2 INTs in the last 3 games he played this season. Now, Bo Levi Mitchell, we don't know what's going to happen today, but he's thrown 22 for 35, 317 yards, 3 touchdowns, just 1 pick since his return from injury, which was back in week 18. With much more as promised, here's Jim and Lapo.
Well, this is about one thing, Lapo. This is about winning the Grey Cup. Period. And when you look at this Hamilton team, when they lost Figueroa, they've got 2 young tackles that struggle in pass protection, and their receiving core is average at best. And you're just not going to run a conventional offense. So you have to do things that are going to help your team out. One is running a tight end. They've got them outnumbered here. You can see they have 7 blockers. They have 6 defenders, and they're able to just use numbers to create problems. Same thing here. You're going to see on this next play that he's going to use a tight end wing set over on the boundary side. Again, completely outnumbering them and they're going to allow James Butler and Sean Thomas Erlington to actually do their thing. And this is what they have to do to win the game. On this play, same type of deal. And on this last play, you're going to see what Matthew Shiltz at quarterback does. He is basically a designated runner. That adds a gap. When you watch this play, they pull a guard and tackle in front of him, and he is a physical downhill runner, Lapo. He adds something to that run game. And they have to run the ball to get to the next level.
Yeah, what's interesting for Montreal defensively, what do they do when they're facing themselves two different quarterbacks? You know, how do you handle that? Here's a couple of points. The first thing that's got to happen is Montreal's got to be who they are. They can't overanalyze it too much. Don't change too much. But a couple of things. Watching Matt Schultz, what they've done with Matthew is boots, play actions. They moved the launch point. So on first down, make sure you do some run blitzes to pull him up in the pocket and help on those gaps that you're talking about. And then when Bo Levi Mitchell's in the game, I would be playing more zone coverage. Bo loves the deep shot. Don't give them that deep shot opportunity. Montreal's got to be what they've been all year. One of the best takeaway teams in the Canadian Football League. That's what they need to do. Doesn't matter which quarterback's in. Get their takeaways. That helps them get the win. That's what we're seeing back here, Kate, from the cool table.
Oh, now it's the cool table, is it? Well, I'm coming back there for the next segment. Let's say that. Let's keep this QB conversation going. Vernon Adams Jr. making his second career playoff start. First one didn't go great. He had 3 picks in it back with Montreal in 2019. We're going to chat more of the Lions coming up right after this.
If he's on the field, I'm expecting him to be the VA of old.
Big play VA was on point in that drive.
This is the Vernon Adams they've been waiting for. This is a different Vernon Adams, and because of that, these BC Lions are a different team.
4-man rush into the end zone, touchdown! And this is a Lion onslaught. VA is dialed in, wants to throw again, finds some space in the end zone, touchdown, and a 300-yard gain for Vernon Adams. What a season he's having. I think he's in the discussion for MLB.
CFL on TSN. It's the Stampeders up against the BC Lions. Looking into the end zone. Touchdown. Dominic Rhymes takes off. Touchdown BC. The third touchdown drive for BC in this season opening night. How about an opening act from Vernon Adams Jr.?
It's a spectacular Saturday afternoon in Vancouver as the Lions host the Stampeders. Is blocked. Loose ball laying there. Lions pick it up and take over inside the 15. Finds some space in the end zone. Touchdown. First of the year for Lucky Whitehead. Calgary, it's interesting. This one's going to sting a little bit.
Can I see the top of the mountain? Sure, but it's a little cloudy up there.
Plenty at stake for both teams. Dave Dickinson says we're in desperation mode. Bagleton makes the catch.
Wow.
At the goal line, Bagleton. Sensational play. Over the middle, Cam Judge with the interception. Fantastic play by Cameron Judge. Stampeders have to feel good about themselves.
They've been playing really good. I hope we do see them.
So the Calgary Stampeders are averaging 5.7 yards per carry against the BC Lions. And if you take away the 22-yard loss by punter Cody Grace in Week 10, they're actually averaging just over 6 yards per carry this season. The rush really exploded that game Week 20 at BC Place when the Stamps ran the ball 31 times for 206 yards and also 3 TDs. And this is what we are watching for today, Matt Dunnigan. It has been so successful in the past, especially a couple of weeks ago. Ground today again.
Yeah, a lot of people are making a lot of noise about that success on the ground against the BC Lions. If I'm the BC Lions going, yeah. You know, let's go back to last year when we shut you down and held you to 83 yards rushing. I think that game is a flush them down a toilet for the BC Lions in the way that they were playing defense, because I think they'll be taken up a notch against this football team. Now, look, I think it's the right blueprint for the Calgary Stampeders, because I don't think you need to put it all on Jake Mayer's shoulders. That guy right there, Peyton Logan, he's an explosive in the space type of player, and you need to get him on the edge. And with clean footing like they're going to have at BC Place, he's going to be a big factor in this. And then in between the tackles, that's Kadeem Carey, and then that's where he lives and makes a living. To me, if they can establish the line of scrimmage, keep the ball away from big play VA, I can tell you, Kate, it goes a long way for the Calgary Stampeders to go to Winnipeg next week.
I could not agree more. So we'll see what happens in this one. Now with more on a big player for the BC Lions, let's head over to Milton Ches.
Look at that ugly dude.
Yeah, a big player, also a tone setter, that guy right there, Keon Hatcher. That last game of the season, the BC Lions felt like they wanted to go into that game and match the intensity of the Stampeders. Once they realized that the Stamps were also ready to battle, there wasn't much on the line for the BC Lions. I think they shut it down. That's not the BC Lions team, but this guy is a real tone setter, Keon Hatcher.
Yeah, the two hottest receivers in the league Right now, when we playing today, Tim White and, of course, Keon Hatcher. And Tim White kills you with speed, but Keon Hatcher kills you with understanding of space and angles. And if you look at this play, this is a corner route, typical corner route. Keon Hatcher comes off the line of scrimmage, and right there, he could go straight to the corner because there's much room. But that's at 10 yards. If that happens, that cornerback right there will fall off and have a chance to make a play, and also that halfback will take that angle away. But Hatcher, what does he do? He goes up 16 yards, leaving all that space for Vernon Adams to throw the ball in there. Great play, great throw. Another play right here. He has a post route, but instead of going straight into the post, what does he do? He gives the cornerback a little nod to the corner route, to the post route, and to the corner route, and then goes to the post. You'll see it better right here. Just a little nod to the corner route, leaving even more space for VA to throw it, right?
Absolutely.
So the opposing defender can't drop off, and that cornerback is behind him. Once again, it's all about space and angles. Yes, it would be nice to be fast, but if you're not, you have to utilize what you know, and that's space and angles.
You know what's crazy? You see all the great route running from Keon Hatcher. In that building, they also believe he's the best receiver on that team, but he's the best receiver. He's also the tone setter. You talk about a physical guy that, and when they say he's the tone setter, they didn't mean for the receiving corps like most times we hear about a receiver. They meant for the whole team. That's what Keon Hatcher means. Reminds me of a guy watching right now, probably from Winnipeg, that we hope is healthy with his hamstring, and that's Rasheed Bailey.
Oh, Rasheed Bailey.
But he's the same dynamic he brings to the table. That's what they feel about Keon Hatcher. He is a beast. Nothing you would know about, huh, Mill? What? Physical and fast. What? KB, chill out, man. KB.
Oh, I like it.
Chill out.
How impressive is this, boys? So Keon Hatcher had the most contested catches in the CFL, the entire league with 15, all while posting career highs in both receptions at 78 and yards, 1,226 this season. We'll see if that can continue into the postseason today. And don't forget, it is our second game today. It is the BC Lions taking on the Calgary Stampeders. You can see that one with kickoff going just after 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific. The winner off to meet the Winnipeg Blue Bombers in the Western Final. Austin Mack, the rookie, what a season. 1,154 yards, 4 TDs, 9 plays of 30 yards or more. We'll see if he can keep it going today.
Austin Mack played some time in the NFL with the Giants, Tennessee, San Francisco. A rookie in the CFL. Over the middle perfectly to Austin Mack. His first catch in this game, and it's a big one. Into the end zone. Oh, my goodness, he caught it.
Get to know that name, Austin Mack.
What does Tim White have in store for us today? Led the CFL with 1,269 receiving yards, a very popular pick on the anytime touchdown scores today as we take a look at our FanDuel 5, the most staked anytime TD bets powered by FanDuel. Matthew Schultz leading the way, Tyson Philpott, James Butler, William Please Stand Back, and Tyreek McAllister as well. Some good bets coming in. And we'll see how the line moves, too, as we get closer to game time. But it is the experts' picks now, starting with you, Davis Sanchez, who is scoring a touchdown in Montreal today.
I like the odds for Tyson Philpott at over 2-1. And Philpott is a guy he's like a running back. He has some running back pedigree. I think we all know his dad, Corey Philpott. When he gets the balls in his hand, he's physical, he's tough. I like him in the red zone. Maybe a quick screen, house call.
I like it, but I think the lead dog, and he's been the lead dog all season long, is Austin Mack. And I think in big games you have to lean on that dog. And Austin Mack has been exceptional in picking up this football game and understanding the nuances of it and spatial awareness and separating from DBs. I think he's going to separate Milt and find that end zone this afternoon.
Do you guys know what the acronym NOTS mean?
No.
Non-offensive touchdowns. These Montreal Alouettes are king of it. They have 12 of them. Wow. This defense, they score touchdowns. Big reason why they have won 11 games. So for me, I'm going with Montreal's defense.
Oh, and a lesson from Milt Siegel while we're at it. Let's go to the cool desk now and see what Jim and Lapo are picking.
Well, for me, the key to this game is James Butler. And he is the master of touchdown dances. There's nothing going to get that team fired up more than James Butler getting in the end zone.
It's got to be Tim White. Talking to Scott Milanovic, he says, there's no doubt, everybody knows I'm trying to get this kid the ball. A leading yardage receiver in the CFL, third most targeted receiver in the CFL. He's going to get a target for a touchdown.
So great that we didn't even put them on the board here. So let's take a look at our anytime touchdown challenge. Davis, you like Philpott. Maddie, you like Austin McMilt. You're taking the defense. I like Tim White. I'm the only one who picked a Hamilton Tiger Cat on this board, and AK, he likes Philpott as well. So all season long, we were asking you at home to send us some of your highlights. Didn't matter what it came from. Maybe it was high school, college. We had some flag football in here. It could have been in your backyard, for goodness sakes. But it is time now for another edition of Straight Fire. And Chelsea, I mean, this is a great one to kick things off.
Well, look at this. There's 20 seconds left here. Braden, they're down 4. Braden gets behind the defensive back. Now, look, there's a lot of cushion there. But we're talking about pure speed, runs by him. That's a house call, and
he's on a soccer
straight fire. Yes,
I like that. 7-on-7 too. And this here is 2nd and 5. It's like 15 seconds left on the clock. They run the football. They fumbled it. Manitoba scores. Need a 2-point convert to go to come within 12 points, not 13, and they're out. They got it to 12, and they're advancing. To me, that was unheard of and crazy and straight fire.
How about Matthew Peterson's 75-yard run? Alberta Golden Bears versus Regina. Could he go? Look at him, baby. Get in the end zone. And it's straight fire.
You know, that's impressive, Stiegel, but how about Caden Dewey Hall, what he's been doing all season long? So this is just a casual day for this kid, I've been told. Punt return TD. He's a 16-year-old prospect, 6th return this season. I mean, look at him. He's cutting outside. Whoop! No, whoop, whoop, whoop.
He's taking it to the field.
Honestly, the fact that he's got 6 of these on the season, though, it's absolutely remarkable. By the way, can you send your highlights in 4K? We got some grainy footage, so just moving forward. And how can we forget Farhan Lalji's son?
Let's go.
Lucas Lalji. TD run. CFC prospect game. Come on, Lucas.
Don't sleep on Lucas. He's an athlete.
He's trying right now. You know that. He's trying.
That's a proud father moment for Farhan. Wonderful stuff and straight fire. Thank you for everyone who sent in those clips to us. Keep them coming, too. I mean, we might have a little bit of time in the Eastern or Western final, and we're going to show you your highlights on our show. All right. You know, I think we need a little team building, to be quite honest with you. And I think Jason Moss came up with some really great ideas. And I personally think that I would be able to beat all of you at one sport. I do.
What is that?
Pickleball.
I got a new knee, Kate. It's not going to happen.
Let's see how the Montreal Alouettes fared in the sport this season.
Pickleball court, you know, in the locker room. It's the first time I hear about that.
I didn't think we had the space to do it, and surprisingly enough, it fits just about perfectly.
I didn't know what to think. I didn't know, how often people would be playing, how serious it would be taken, but it's created quite the atmosphere.
The inspiration just came from obviously thinking about how to keep the players engaged and wanting to compete against one another off the field and in our locker room as much as possible.
Why is everybody scared to play? Then beat me on TV.
Every week we play against different people. You play with the different teammates. And it's all little games that you just create relationship with the guy next to you.
There's a complete overhaul of this roster, from the head man to the owner to the starting quarterback to, you know, just about everybody on the team. When you have a roster turnover like that, the best thing to do is to have team camaraderie.
That's just good quarterback-receiver relationship.
I believe the closer your team is, not that you don't go through the same adversity as other teams, you just find your way out of it quicker.
Cody Fajardo, statistically his second best season as a starting QB. He finished with over 3,800 passing yards, 14 TDs, and the best completion percentage in the CFL.
They signed Cody Fajardo to take him to a Grey Cup.
Second and long, deep ball caught. Austin Mack.
Perfect on strike by Cody Fajardo.
Rolling to his right, looking over the top. Open receiver. It's Regis Sivasu inside the 10. Touchdown, Montreal.
Cody Fajardo has been there. He's been in big games like this.
Would absolutely love to hear this convo between these two guys. Bo Levi Mitchell started Hamilton's final 3 regular season games, but on the depth chart, it is listed as Matthew Shiltz starting for the Tiger Cats today. We will find out shortly how this is going to work. Joined now by our CFL insider, Dave Naylor. And Dave, let's begin in Saskatchewan. What is the latest on the search for a head coach for the Rough Riders?
Well, the process has not officially begun because most of the top candidates are still involved in the CFL playoffs. But as my colleague Farhan Lalji reported this week, 4 people we expect to get strong interest from the Rough Riders. Winnipeg Blue Bombers offensive coordinator Buck Pierce, Scott Milanovich, the offensive coordinator with the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and Toronto Argonaut defensive coordinator Corey Mace. Also, Brett Monson, the defensive coordinator of the Calgary Stampeders, I think could be a bit of a dark horse candidate, but those are certainly 4 names we expect that the Rough Riders will reach out to.
Let's go from the west to the east now, and a play we've seen a couple of times courtesy of the Montreal Alouettes, the onside punt. What may happen to this play in the offseason?
Well, before we get to that, I want to bring up one thing. The Alouettes have got a lot of praise for executing this to perfection twice this fall, once against Ottawa and then most recently against Hamilton. But when I was talking to Danny Machocha, their GM this week, he pointed out that they actually muffed it back on July the 9th at BC, a play that Jeshua and Antwi caught the ball, and it was so poorly executed, most people didn't even recognize what they were doing. So they're 2 out of 3, not 2 out of 2. And look, in terms of what could happen to this, I mean, there is no rule that allows you to do this. This actually falls within the CFL rule. So you talk to people around the league, there's not a lot of pushback. Some people like it, some don't. I think it's going to come up when the league has its January meetings, whether or not it will make it to rules committee or not. There would have to be, a specific rule. Machocha joked with Jason Moss, the head coach, said, hey, you may get a rule named after you this offseason, but still too early to say whether the onside mini punt will be part of the CFL in 2024.
I mean, you have to admit, to pull it off twice is actually pretty special. Appreciated our CFL insider, Dave Naylor.
Butler putting on a clinic.
James Butler cuts back to the 5, dives to the end zone. Touchdown, Tiger Cats.
James Butler, touchdown, Ticats.
Welcome to the James Butler Show.
Butler down to the 5, spinning away, staying on it, straight to the end zone. Touchdown, Butler. What an effort. Have yourself a game, James Butler. You got this guy in fantasy tonight. You would love it.
So James Butler finished in the top 3 rushing for 1,116 yards in his first season in the Hammer, the most in his career to this point. Brady Oliveira topping the league with 1,534 rush yards, en route to an MOP nomination this season. It's the second consecutive season that Butler has rushed over 1,000 yards as well. We expect him to have a big game, but who are some other players that will be big performers today? I will start with you, Davis Sanchez.
Tim White? Yeah. I mean, I was talking to some of the Hamilton defensive backs this week. They said, by far, bar none, that is the fastest man on the football field. He puts a lot of pressure on defense, and that opens things up for James Butler, who we all know is extremely important. If you watch this play we have keyed up here, the halfback right to Najee Murray. He's getting the Tim White is releasing there. Najee Murray's looking in the backfield, does not touch Tim White. That gives him a free release up on the halfback because he's worried about the run game. So Najee is looking in the backfield, looking at James Butler. That gets him a free release. Tim White up on Keontae Evans. That is a tough problem for a halfback. He's 12 yards away. He's already opened up because he knows how fast Tim White is. You see right there, he flips him inside out. So the effect that Tim White's speed has on a halfback is in front of him because of James Butler and the eyes in the backfield.
2 superstars, James Butler and Tim White. Both of them have to be big. Tim White has to be super big because I don't think they have enough outside of him in that receiving core to make it happen. And these highlights we're showing were from the first time they played Montreal. He destroyed them, 143 yards. That second game, Montreal said, no, you're not going to beat us. He had 21 yards. So either Hamilton's going to have to move him around or their secondary guys, Godwin and those other guys, are going to have to come up big. Otherwise, they will not have an opportunity in this game.
Milt, I took Austin Mack for my anytime touchdown, and I really believe he's a big part of this offense moving forward in today's contest. And he's been phenomenal how quickly he's taken to the game. game and understanding separation, what it takes. And what I've been impressed with, Milton, I'm sitting here watching the games with you and Davis and go, look at him separate, or look, get out in the break. As soon as he catches the football, you watch him today and how he separates and knows exactly where he's going once he catches the football. I think if you're Cody Fajardo and certainly Jason Moss, you are going to lead hard and heavy on this guy. Yeah, they're going to try to establish William Stanback, but without Greg Ellenson and Reggie White Jr. all season long, this guy, along with Phil Pott and Speaker, have really stepped up, and I think that Austin Mack is going to be a key target for Cody Fajardo in their success today.
Couldn't agree more. If I had to pick anyone other than Tim White, who I had, definitely Austin Mack. Everyone watching him today. All right, with more on how to stop Hamilton's run offense, Lapo.
When you're going to stop the run, the thing that has to happen is you have to have players at the line of scrimmage. There's gaps along every offensive lineman. And what those gaps, you have to have defensive linemen and linemen in those spaces. So if you look, here is what's called a pinch, where both defensive linemen line up in outside gaps and they jump in on the snap. Then you have people jumping back outside. It surprises Peter Nicastro, gives an opportunity for Mustafa Johnson to go inside. Same look on a 2nd and 3. They pinch, bring the linebackers outside. Once again, that opens up Mustafa, gets another tackle for a short yardage. Here you have multiple people moving here. You have one guy coming behind two. The left tackle gets pushed inside, frees up the linebacker, and then it lets Mondo Sewell a chance to get in. Here's pressure from the secondary with a twist. It looks like there's an open space. You call them gaps. Looks like the A-gap's open. No, it isn't. What happens, Avery Williams is able to fill that space and go ahead and push that ball here. And the hardest thing, hey, I sit on these little markers here all day. Well, Rekka, she's our camera guy. I'm starting to move around. She's trying to chase me, right? What you're trying to do, that's what the D-line, you want the D-line moving after the snap, so it's harder. Rekka did a great job as our camera person following me, but that's what's got to happen today. They're going to do a lot of twists and twisting and moving around to make sure that they can stop that run from Hamilton, Kate.
Now I want to move all around the set, Lapo. Great stuff. All right, meanwhile, James Butler became just the 4th player in Tiger Cats history to rush for over 1,000 yards and have over 500 yards receiving in a single season. Butler posted career highs with 1,116 rushing yards, 527 receiving yards in his first season with the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Here is our Matthew Shinetti standing by with Matthew Schultz.
Matt, it's been the discussion all week. Are you the starting quarterback for today's game?
Yeah, I'll be running out of the tunnel, so I'm ready to go. Looking forward to the opportunity.
What's the preparation been like? All the discussion all week has been splitting reps between you and Bo, then you took reps, first-team reps at practice. Mentally, how did you prepare?
Yeah, mentally it was just another game. Preparing the same way I prepared all season, just ready to go out there. Really excited for the opportunity and hopefully go out there and get a win with the guys.
This is the best scoring defense in the CFL. What do you have to be mindful of when going up against the Alouettes?
Yeah, they're just going to be looking for the ball. You got to be disciplined. They're going to be physical, and we got to take advantage of our opportunities when they're there.
Thanks for this.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, seems like no trickery. Matthew Schultz, starting quarterback for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Just mentioned the defense there. Montreal's defense allowed just 21.8 points per game. That was 2nd best in the CFL. Huge part of that, Marc-Antoine Ducroix. More after this.
That Alouette defense under Noel Thorpe, very impressive.
All of the defense.
There's Bo Levi. Mitchell goes down. And who is it? A lemon drop in week 21. Pressure's on. Crum gets it away. Touchdown, Alouettes.
But, you know, we're in the playoffs.
Well, a little later on today, we're going to head to BC, where the Lions are favorites over the Calgary Stampeders. Calgary going to have to solve BC's defense, looking for a monster performance, including the sack leader this season, Matthew Betts.
Well, Matthew Betts has had himself a heck of a season.
I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do tonight.
2nd and 7. Matthew Betts is right there, and the ball is fumbled.
He's a defensive robot. It's going to be Kelly. Pressure on, and down he goes. Hello, Mr. Betts. Welcome to the backfield once again.
We have a new sack leader as far as Canadians go. 18 sacks for Matthew Betts.
It's been a a special season for BC Lions defensive lineman Matthew Betts. CFL sack champion, the single-season record for most sacks by a Canadian, and now West nominee for most outstanding defensive player. Mild-mannered off the field, the Montreal native transforms once he puts on his helmet. Here's more on Betts, his breakthrough year, and the CFL legend who has helped push him to new heights.
What do you think it's like going up against Matthew Betts?
Down he goes. Hello, Mr. Betts.
And he waves bye-bye.
Bye-bye, bye-bye. Everybody say bye-bye to the nice guy.
When he gets on the field, man, he flips a switch. He's just going to expose you.
Matthew Betts, the sack leader in the CFL.
He's just going to him like a turnstile.
I'm glad I'm not these guys.
Brady goes down. Quarterback sack is the Matthew Betts. On two.
Knockout TKO.
Taken down by Betts.
This breaks the record for most sacks by a Canadian.
I was like, holy, it makes you think twice.
Everybody say hi, hi, hi to the bad guy.
Encore, Alouettes. Back-to-back Grey Cup titles. They have really been the team of this decade.
When I grew up, the Alouettes were one of the really, really good teams. My parents would at least take me like once a year to see them. The D-line and the defense they had with Bowman, Anwar Stewart. That's probably what got me into football at first.
The Alouettes in Quebec, it was a big deal in the football community.
And John Bowman eats him up.
This guy never turns the motor off.
All of them say, hey, I remember you and Anwar back in the day. And to me, it feels like yesterday.
Look who gets the sack. Alouette legend, John Bowman.
It was really, really fun to witness that.
We were good. You guys were lucky in Quebec.
Yeah, you're right. Put on a good show.
And a big play on defense again from Montreal.
Your dark visor and flashiness. I mean, I wish I had it in me.
It's quiet with you. I was a little more brash, I will say. The confidence, like you walk on the field and you got your arms up in your pads and you just know, you like, I don't, like whatever. I'm about my business. And I was the same way, but I was louder. Like I was in people's face. I'm a dog, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. With you was more, yeah, okay, let's bring it.
Something that might be similar to on game day.
Yeah, you. Game day, Matthew Betts is a whole nother person.
Tackled for a loss. Betts was all over him.
Becoming a free agent for the first time in my career. Didn't know much about BC. I learned that you were coaching the D-line, so I was kind of said, oh, that's pretty cool. I mean, Bowman, I watched him on TV.
When they broke it down, hey, we want to get Betts. What do you think? Like, yeah, he's got great athleticism. Maybe we can mold him, help him become what people think he can be. Truth is, you are a better athlete than I was.
He will go down, and in the backfield, it's Matthew Betts.
He's kind of the guy who stirs the drink for this defense.
He started off the year on fire. I just knew it was going to be that year for him.
Look who it is! The Juggernaut got it done again, running through walls.
He runs like a juggernaut. I've called him RoboCop because he's just like perfect form, full effort.
You got to show up every play. He's going to be coming at you every single time.
Yeah, he's so explosive, man. I don't know what he's drinking, but I want some.
Another sack for Matthew Betts.
Growing up in Montreal, I played multiple sports, especially hockey. In football, the effort is more like a 6-second intense effort, where in hockey, it's more like 40 to 60 seconds. I kind of had the advantage that I could keep a higher pace of intensity.
Taken down by Betts. Gets home, wraps him up, and the sensational season for Matthew Betts continues.
Hell yeah, Betts! Woo!
He's a great player. Canadian, American, whatever. I'm glad to be the guy who gets to coach him.
Oh my God, John Bowman's added some tricks to his bag. Betts is buying into everything he's telling him.
It's almost like a cheat code. You figure it out the way I play, what I'm the best at, and just push me. Younger me looking at that would think it's pretty surreal. So yeah, it's definitely a cool story.
Matthew Betts has him.
I gotta think that he's reaping the rewards from John Bowman.
Even if I had just one fraction of influence over him, it means a lot for me.
What they're doing right now is making quarterbacks look terrible.
Listen, you're about to hit another stratosphere. In Montreal, in Quebec, we know how big football is. Every defensive lineman in Quebec, they're going to all imagine they're Matthew Betts right now. Oh, I'm going to be Matthew Betts today. Oh, no, I'm Matthew Betts today. And with that power comes great responsibility. There's no reason why you can't be the best defensive end up here.
Another fantastic feature by our Simon Guerin. That was awesome stuff. Matthew Betts' Canadian record season wasn't impressive enough. Well, when you break down the numbers, it's really remarkable. Betts was successful on both sides in the defense this season, registering 10 sacks on the left and then 8 on the right. His pressure rate was almost even no matter what side of the defense he lined up on. With more, JB.
Too often in this league, Lapo, assistant coaches don't get credit. And John Bowman truly deserves a lot of credit for Matthew Betts' development. Matthew Betts, his magic pill is speed and quickness. His get-off is as good as anybody I've seen in the league. He can get off the ball. But using his hands and his counter moves and the things that Bowman has taught him has taken him to a completely different level. It's just exciting to watch a young guy come in. He spent some time in Edmonton, and then he comes to BC, and he gets matched with the right coach who pushes his buttons, and now we have a superstar.
I love John Bowman's quote of, he's a great player, Canadian-American, he's a great football player, and that's what he is. There's some scary stats going on for Calgary and BC in these 3 games. Calgary, Jake Maier's 53% completion percentage average in the 3 games, 170 yards he averaged in all 3 games. What's interesting to me, I think what has to happen is man coverage tonight for the BC Lions. They're going to stop the run. They're going to put as many people in around the box. Calgary has got to be able to hold up and win versus man coverage and hit a couple explosive plays downfield, because that's been their Achilles heel. And again, BC's held them off for 3 games. Can they do it for a 4th game? That's what I'm looking for.
Can Calgary's tackles handle Matthew Betts?
Absolutely. It'll be interesting to see, Kate.
Really looking forward to this one. It's the 15th all-time playoff meeting between Calgary and BC. Calgary definitely holds the edge there. 10 wins to BC's 4, but we'll see what happens tonight. 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific. And look who's in the house in Montreal, the all-time leading rusher in CFL history, Mike Pringle. Taking a walkabout. He looks like he could still play.
Same.
Yeah.
That's the same.
Denver ball. We haven't even mentioned the weather once. What a spectacular day today in Montreal. Meanwhile, it took till July for him to find a team, but Sean Lemon has made the most of his time with the Alouettes this season. 9 sacks in 13 games. Here he is with Matthew.
Sean, I know you well enough to know this is one of your favorite times of the year. Mentally, how did you help your defense prepare for today?
Man, we're sharp. I love the game plan we have. You know, we're just ready to get after it.
What kind of coach have you learned that Noel Thorpe is and the way that he inspires his guys as a defensive coordinator?
He's very smart now to use us as defenders. We're a very physical team. You know, coming in, playing against a team that we don't like. We're going to be very physical today.
Speaking of not liking them, does it matter to you who the quarterback is?
It doesn't matter. I sacked both of them.
Good luck, Sean.
Thank you.
It would have been better if he said I would have sacked all 3 of them, and Powell obviously in street clothes as well. Now, to say that Sean Lemon is the straw that stirs the drink in the Owls defense is an understatement. The Owls pass rush improved substantially with Lemon in the lineup, jumping from 1.6 sacks a game to 2.8. Their QB pressure rate also took a huge jump to 25.1% without him in the lineup, which was 9th in the CFL at the time, to 36.5, taking them to 2nd in the league. Statistics don't lie.
Nope.
Lemonator, we were all shocked that maybe it took so long, but he's made the most of his time in Montreal so far. Keys to victory in this game, Matt Dunnigan.
Yeah, well, I'm going to stay on that defensive side of the football for the Montreal Alouettes. You know, a lot of talk about Sean Lemon for a reason, but the way that, and to be piecemealed and added into this defense was just seamless. And you talk about also Darnell Sankey in the middle, being a late addition. DeQuoy coming on the back end. Stubblefield being up for rookie Rookie of the Year. And this guy right here, Tyrese Beverett, arguably the best defender in the league. He's been all over the football field. You put that together with Mustafa Johnson, who's had an all-star year. You talked about Lemon. You got Guake, who made Jamal Davis the second expendable, who's playing on the other side for Hamilton. Unbelievable. And then you take Sewell right there in the middle, taking gaps away from offensive runs. This defense is as stout as they come in the Canadian Football League. I think that's going to be a key for this football game and this team to move forward.
And I'm going to piggyback off of that, man. I'm going to piggyback because offensively, Montreal is averaging 24.6 points a game. That's like fourth in the league. But they're last with only 31 touchdowns. Reason being, as I talked about earlier, non-offensive touchdowns. Off defense and special teams that allow them to score those points. And that's what's going to win this game. Can Montreal offense and special teams score some points, or can Hamilton prevent their special teams and defense from scoring some points? That will decide this game in my opinion.
I agree. Montreal's defense, it's been the key to this team's success. It hasn't been the offense. So I believe, again, same thing today. Northrop with that defense will be the key. Also, I spoke to Stavros Katsatonis this week. I love his attitude as a young safety. I asked him, somebody had mentioned to him, like, why the play? You started to make plays now. What's the difference? He said, because I'm on the field now. Opportunity. He believes in himself. And he said, this defense that we have, we take pride in that, taking the ball away, and that's what we will do Saturday. So he's confident that his group will take the ball away. I love his attitude, but it's both these defenses that are the key.
A lot of people were wondering those first three games, will they have any bearing on this game? And I add defensive coordinator Mark Washington, and he basically said, no, they have nothing. It was just us gathering information. Even if we would have won the game, it was just us gathering information. It's all about these 60 minutes that are coming up. What happened those first three games mean nothing. We have to go out there and play and make it happen these 60 minutes, and that's all
what the Argos been doing all year, gathering information.
Gathering information.
That's all they did. It didn't matter. You know, but it's interesting, too. Even with the Calgary Stampeders, we talk about momentum at the right time of the season. The Stamps come into the playoffs. Obviously, the loss to the Bombers, but before that, beating the BC Lions in BC. And you look at the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and I completely agree with you, Milt. I think those three games, it's pointless, Matt, isn't it? Because this is a totally different ball game right here.
Yeah, you know, I think some guys rest, some guys get valuable playing time. And certainly gathering information on those meaningless games, so to speak. You can add formations, you can do certain things, give them more to look at, more to work on throughout the course of the week in practice. But at the end of the day, it's going to come down to execution and turnovers. And these teams are very, very close, Kate, when it comes to that. Everybody talking about the Owls, but Ticats are right behind them.
I don't know about you guys. This has been an hour pregame, and now I'm ready to watch some football. You guys? A spectacular day in Montreal for the third straight year. It's the Tiger Cats and the Alouettes in the Eastern semifinal.
Y'all boys incredible. Y'all boys incredible.
We in the next this year.
Playoff football is the best thing in the world. If you're 3-0 against a team, 0-3 against a team, prove people wrong.
We know we're going to give them our best, and they're going to give us their best, and the best team will win that football game.
It's going to be more of a fight. Capitalize on all cylinders. You win or you go home.
I think Cody Fajardo has been there. He's been in big games like this.
Fajardo turns, fakes the run, runs for the end zone. Touchdown, Alouettes.
Tim White really brought it on. He's going to lead the league in receiving yardage. Butler over 1,000 yards. Those two guys need to have enormous, not average games that these Hamilton Tiger Cats want to win.
Inside run. The Butler did it. Touchdown, Hamilton. End zone. Tim White. Touchdown again.
The Alouettes getting the better of the Ticats in all three games this season. Schiltz, listed as the starting quarterback on the depth chart. He confirmed it with Matthew Shinetti that he will be running out of the tunnel first. Orlando Steinhauer saying this week that Bo Levi Mitchell will play as well. It will be fascinating to watch the QB situation. No doubt who the number one is for the Alouettes. Cody Fajardo coming off a season where he passed for over 3,800 yards, 14 TDs, and he led the league in completion percentage. His Alouettes a perfect 3-0 against the Hamilton Tiger Cats this season, but we'll see what happens when it matters the most. Keeping us alongside Davis Sanchez, Matt Dunnigan, Milt Stiegel. Behind us at the cool desk, we've been told, is Paul Lapolice and Jim Barker. And let's get your keys to this game. Ches, what are you watching for?
Yeah, it's the playmakers, Austin Mack, Tim White. Are those guys, can they break tackles, make big plays? Because I truly believe the points are going to be hard to come by today. So can those playmakers with the ball in their hands make things happen?
Yeah, we've been blessed with great special teams all year long, and we talked about offense, we talked about D, as we rightfully should, but it comes down to playmakers there. And, you know, McAllister for Hamilton, he can take it to the house. And then you got James Hannibal Lecter. That guy could actually take it back to the house and be a difference maker. Some play on special teams, Milt, is going to make a difference here.
The only way Hamilton wins this game if their superstars on offense step up. That's James Butler and Tim White. In the first game, Tim White tore it up 143 yards, but Butler only had 21 yards. In the second game, Butler tore it up 101 total yards, but Tim White only had 21 yards. In the third game, they didn't play. If those two guys do not have big games, not good games, big games, I don't think Hamilton wins.
Is it a distraction at all with what's going on quarterback-wise for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, back and forth, or does it matter at this point?
I don't think so, Kate. Everybody's locked into doing their jobs. And Matthew Schiltz give them the best chance to win. We haven't seen it from our guy, Bo Levi Mitchell, for a number of years now, and this year hasn't really been a difference, struggling through injury. Schiltz is healthy. He'll give him a good chance to win.
You know, I disagree with you, man. I still think as a quarterback starting his first playoff game, it's all about confidence. Your head coach telling you that I'm going to start you, but I'm going to play the other guy, that doesn't instill the confidence I want in a young quarterback going into his first playoff game. So I don't agree with it.
7 years.
But he's never played in a playoff game. He's never started a playoff game.
You look at Cody Fajardo, he's 1-2, you know, in playoff games.
You know what the great news is?
There, right?
We're going to find out. That's the best part of playing the game, isn't it? By the way, I almost feel like we need some snow in Montreal. It's not like CFL playoffs. Look how beautiful it is. This is spectacular. Nice. Get us to Montreal. Maybe we'll be there from halftime. By the way, we will hear from Jim and Lapo at half. We promise. Wayne Ford.
Thank you, Kate. Just a beautiful look at the campus of McGill University. For the second straight year, the playoffs start here. Third straight year, it's the Alouettes and the Ticats for the right to move on to the Eastern Final in Toronto next week at BMO Field. Now, the story at quarterback, very different for these teams, Dwayne. Uncertainty for Hamilton, pretty clear-cut. Cody Fajardo for the Alouettes.
Yeah, absolutely. Cody Fajardo has had a nice bounce-back year after being much maligned as he wound down his time in Saskatchewan. Cody Fajardo turned in a year with the Montreal Alouettes this season, winning record, leading the Canadian Football League in completion percentage. Now, we expect to see multiple quarterbacks for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, but to the surprise of many, it's going to be Matthew Schiltz who gets the start. He was the only Ticat QB with a winning record this season at 2-1. The veteran, Bo Levi Mitchell, with a couple of Grey Cups under his belt, ready to come off the bench.
Orlando Steinhauer 1-1 in division semis. That one loss coming here a year ago, won the year before in Hamilton. Jason Moss last won a playoff game as a head coach right here in Montreal 4 years ago when he was with Edmonton, then went on to face Steinhauer and the Ticats in the Eastern Final that year. The Ticats have won the toss as given by Montreal legend Mike Pringle back here at Molson Stadium, and they will take the ball to start things off. 81 regular season games are in the books. And now off the foot of David Cote. It's playoff time 2023. Owls, Ticats, Montreal kicking off, and it's Tyreek McAllister, who had a big missed field goal return for a touchdown last week right here. Gets it up across the 35, where Matthew Schiltz gets his first CFL playoff start. He had 5 starts as a member of the Montreal Alouettes going back to 2017.
Yeah, and it's a neat situation for Matthew Schiltz to come back to the place where he started his Canadian Football League career to make his first playoff start while it's his first time in the situation, he's very comfortable in this stadium, in this environment, knows exactly what he's dealing with in terms of crowd noise, etc.
Schultz had 3 starts for the Ticats this year before getting hurt and giving way to Taylor Powell and handing off right away, and lots of room to run there for James Butler. 3rd leading rusher in the Canadian Football League and is up close to a first down for the Cats.
We'll take a look at this starting offense for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Their top offensive lineman once again, Brandon Revenberg. He's going to lead the way from that left guard spot. Tim White. You just heard Davis Sanchez talk about his importance in this offense. Their go-to receiver, led the league in yards. Hamilton's most outstanding player nominee.
Kyle Loxley in at quarterback for short yardage after Butler got 9. Loxley pushes his way through, easily has a first down as we take a look at the Alouette defense going up against the Ticats today.
And there you see Sean Lemon led the Montreal Alouettes with 9 sacks this season, made his debut this season with a big game against Hamilton that included a couple of sacks. Former Tiger Cat Tyrese Beverett, absolutely dominant both on defense and special teams. Big time playmaker. Marc-Antoine Dequoy from the free safety spot, among the best in the league at taking the ball away. He's the East nominee as most outstanding Canadian.
Goes back to Butler right side on first down, and that time Armando Sewell got the start on him, and they do finish him off after a couple of yards more for Butler. Matthew Schultz started in the CFL out of Butler University with the Alouettes here in 2017, and he left last season signing a free agent deal with the Ticats. He backed up Dane Evans last year. Bo Levi Mitchell coming in as the clear number 1, but he got hurt in week 2. Went on to 6, came back, and he was hurt just 1 game in, a game in Ottawa with a fracture in his leg. Just returning late in this season. Sean Thomas Erlington in at running back at a 2nd and 5. And throwing is Schultz. Looks to the right. A first down across midfield. Looks like he just had enough for it. That's Terry Godwin with the catch.
Terry Godwin's going to line up. It's a wide receiver out to that right side, just working underneath. Quick hitter, let Matthew Schultz get into a little bit of a rhythm early. Terry Godwin, to me, is one of those X-factor guys in this Hamilton Tiger Cat offense. I heard Ches talk about the importance of Butler and White. Terry Godwin, he along with Keandre Smith, I think, are the other 2 guys that you look at to be difference makers in this game.
2nd most targeted receiver in the Cats behind White this season. Swinging it out. Tyreek McAllister. He is the leader in the CFL in combined yardage. Great returner, but he does get some offensive touches. Had over 400 yards on offense this season.
McAllister took over from Lawrence Woods as the Cats' primary return man. Has certainly shown some flashes on offense this season. Those Swiss Army knife type guys who you'll see out of the backfield and working from a receiver spot.
They get it down to the Alouette 40. First possession of this East Division semifinal, and it goes back to Butler. Butler has 2-3 more yards. Orlando Steinauer explaining the decision to start Schultz, largely predicated on the kind of plays they wanted to run, and that we should expect to see Bo Levi Mitchell. But so far, Schultz has a good drive going now to open things up in a 2nd and long coming up.
James Butler playing a significant role in the early going. To no one's surprise, Montreal is a great high percentage ball control offense. I think Hamilton looks to do a little bit of the same.
Rotating running backs again with Thomas Erlington back in, 2nd and 7. Off to the left. It is complete around the 30. The ball comes out, and Deontay Ruffin for the Alouettes has it. It looked like the Ticats had enough for the first down, but it popped out. A fumble by Hamilton, and Ruffin is alertly there. The catch by Keandre Smith, trying for more, and it just came out. Alouette football, 0-0. East semifinal on TSN. Linebacker Avery Williams with the first big play of this game, forcing a fumble. Montreal ball.
Yeah, Schultz delivers the ball to Keandre Smith. He breaks the first tackle. And then the veteran Avery Williams came over from Ottawa in free agency this year. Was able to get it hand on that football to pull it out, creating that turnover. Great for Montreal to get Avery Williams back in their lineup. Had 3 separate stints on the injured list this year, missing 9 games in total.
Hi, Avery. Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. How y'all doing? Hi, Precious. You was scared, wasn't you? I ain't gonna hurt you. You see the pearly whites.
Started in the middle, got hurt. They got Darnell Sankey, and now Williams back in that lineup. First possession, Alouettes handing off. It is Williams standback, 800 yards rushing exactly for the Alouettes this season. Former 2-time 1,000-yard rusher for Montreal.
And there you see the numbers for Cody Fajardo. 9-7 in terms of those wins and losses. Caleb Evans came on when he was hurt to pick up a couple of wins for these Alouettes, but late push, strong finish for the Owls contributed to him boosting some of those numbers, particularly that completion percentage. Only QB over 70%.
Played in 3 playoff games, all with Saskatchewan before this. He completes that one. Turning around is Tyler Sneed. Great yardage after the catches. He's finally taken down inside the Alouette 40. They're actually going to mark it at around the 46, where they say Sneed went out of bounds. A gain of 26 yards for first-year receiver out of East Carolina, Tyler Sneed.
Yeah, and what a terrific pickup Tyler Sneed has been for the Montreal Alouettes this season. As Cody Fajardo suggested, ton of injuries in the Alouettes receiving corps this year, going back to training camp. But as Cody Fajardo said, it may have been a blessing in disguise with the opportunities that it created for guys like Austin Mack and Tyler Sneed.
First down, the Hamilton 45, back to standback. Finds a few yards up the middle, gets it down to about the 41. Here's a closer look at the starting offense for the Alouettes in this game.
And along that offensive line, one of their top guys, Pierre-Olivier Lestage, is out of the lineup with injury this week. The veteran Philippe Gagnon, former number 2 overall pick, will start in his place. We mentioned Austin Mack, Montreal's leading receiver. He's been quiet down the stretch. I think some nagging injuries getting him late in the year. But he looks to finish strong going into the playoffs.
Voted an Eastern All-Star from the Alouettes, 2nd and 5, Fajardo. Tries to dump it off, and ball comes out as he's taken down by Malik Carney. And it just comes out, and Christian Matt, the right guard, the veteran, falls on the football. A 3rd down is coming up.
I'll watch for number 5, Malik Carney, from his defensive end spot as Fajardo is forced to hold on to that football. Looked for a moment like he was going to try and get the outlet to his running back, stand back there. But Malik Carney with the sack, his first since July 26th.
As McAllister goes back for the return, Joseph Zima, the best net punting average in the CFL this year, and 10 times, second only to Cody Grace, has he pinned teams inside the 10. Very accurate punter as well. As this one, well, it heads pretty well straight down the middle to the goal line, and Godwin letting it go in as he does take a knee. So the first point of this playoff game is on the board, with the rouge off the foot of Zima. Matthew Schultz had something good going before the turnover as they ventured into the Alouette zone. Hamilton ball when we come back. Bo Levi Mitchell and Matthew Schultz. Here's how their numbers compared with the Ticats this season. Difficult decision for Orlando Steinauer, going with Schultz first. With more, let's head down to Matthew Shinetti.
One of the oddest images of today's game, Rod, is right behind me. That's Bo Levi Mitchell. He is not used to being in a backup role. I asked him before the game, how does it feel to be an underdog? He goes, I'm not an underdog. My switch is flipped. All week, we've had eyes on what the situation might be on Tuesday after a closed practice. Bo Levi Mitchell talked about what it might be like not starting, and he said putting the team first is something I've had to learn about my whole career. Maybe early on in my career I wouldn't have understood what that means, getting in front of it, getting behind it, but understanding just how many people have gone into this Ticat season and understanding that has helped give him perspective. He says, though, he will be locked locked in. The one thing to really put your mind on whether or not Schultz and Bo Levi Mitchell in, Schultz doesn't wear a glove. His balls typically will be scuffed. Bo Levi Mitchell does wear a glove, so when he goes in, those balls might change because he likes a smoother ball wearing the glove. It's just a number of the details we'll be watching as, in the event, both quarterbacks go in, Rod.
Well, Matthew, he does have the experience once before, of course, a year ago when he gave way to Jake Mayer. Came off the bench in that playoff game in a losing cause for Calgary against the BC Lions.
Yeah, certainly a little different situation where the two-quarterback thing has kind of become part of Hamilton's MO over the course of the last couple of seasons, whether it's been a combination of Jeremiah Masoli and Dane Evans helping them get to Grey Cups, or now Bo Levi Mitchell and Matthew Schultz.
It's 2nd and 8 after that gain by Butler, and this is Tyreek McAllister. Great yards after the catch and a first down and more inside the Alouette 50. So we've seen a couple of offensive touches for McAllister. Used to seeing him be so dangerous as a kick returner.
Yeah, and here you see him out of the backfield. He's in there for James Butler in that twin set along with Sean Thomas Erlington. Now you'll see him work from a wing or slot position.
Gain of 22 yards, down to the Alouette 46. 1st and 10 Ticats. Left side, Butler. He's got some room. Pulls his way inside the 40. It'll be a 2nd and short coming up. He gets close to 9 on that running play.
Watch for the straight arm here from the running back, James Butler. Gets Avery Williams off him after the middle linebacker had penetrated.
So another short yardage play for Kyle Loxley, who goes right and looks to have enough, easily enough, and inside the 35 of Montreal. So say this for the Ticats early on, that they have been able to move the football. This their 2nd possession and still going. Just the one turnover, the only blemish so far.
Yeah, a great overhead look here. Terrific drive on the right side of that offensive line by Coulter Woodmansey and Tyrone Riley. Easy first down pickup there for Kyle Loxley. Bit of a jack of all trades in this Hamilton Tiger Cat offense.
This down inside the 34 and a 1st and 10. 1-0 on a punt single for the Alouettes. Keeping it is Schultz. Took the snap, took off. He's been known to run well, and it looks like he has enough for another Hamilton first down.
Yeah, and a lot of the discussion about which quarterback plays for Hamilton has to do with play calling. There are things that Schultz likes better, things that Bo likes better, and perhaps executes better. Obviously, some of the quarterback run options are more viable with Matthew Schultz as the guy taking the snap.
The title is Senior Assistant Coach for Scott Milanovich. He is the offensive coordinator, calling the plays here. And so far, an effective run for the Ticats. Short yardage, Loxley again on that 2nd down and 1, and looks to be enough to move the sticks again and keep this drive going in scoring range in the Alouette zone. Schultz off to a 5-for-5 start.
Hamilton, as you mentioned earlier, Rod, moving the football well on each of their first 2 possessions. Stopped on that first one by an unfortunate turnover for them when they had gotten into scoring position. Montreal doing a nice job getting it down the field, making Hamilton march it out.
Right in the middle of the field, down to the Alouette 20. Sean Thomas Erlington. A trip home for him from the University of Montreal Cataban. The veteran running back picks up a couple more.
Big Armando Sewell, the veteran, this Montreal Alouettes front. And quickly to make the tackle on that one.
Thomas Erlington gets 2. 2nd and 8 coming up. Good, loud crowd cheering on the home side here at Molson Stadium at McGill. The 2nd and 8 from the 18. Schultz to the left. Thomas Erlington has it, but he cannot go anywhere on that. The strong side linebacker Reggie Stubblefield had it read. Takes him down, and the field goal unit will come on for the Ticats.
Reggie Stubblefield, guy who really emerged for the Alouettes this season. He's their nominee as most outstanding rookie. Moved a little bit closer to the action as the season went on, starting off at halfback, eventually moved up to that nickel linebacker position, where he's had a tremendous impact.
Mark Leggio, 41 of 47 on the season, 87.2% efficiency. It'll be put down by Kari Vedvik. A 23-yard try to give Hamilton the lead in this East Division final, and Leggio puts it through. First drive down, they turned it over. Second drive down, they get some points on the board. So on to Cody Fajardo now. First year with the Alouettes in the playoffs. The East Division semifinal on TSN. After 3 seasons with the Rough Riders, Saskatchewan moved on, signed Trevor Harris. So Cody Fajardo reunited with his old offensive coordinator, Jason Maas, and ends up being the most accurate passer in terms of completion percentage in the CFL this season.
Yeah, and obviously some ups and downs over the course of the year. You saw the 14 touchdown passes versus 12 interceptions. But I think Cody Fajardo and the Alouettes offense just got better as the season went on. I think there was some evolution as some of the receivers settled into new roles as well.
Second possession, Alouettes down 3-1 off to the left quickly for Austin Mack in his first catch of the season. Mack in his first year out of Ohio State. Look at the Ticats defense.
Yeah, and along that defensive line, we'll keep an eye on Jagarrett Davis, a guy who has been to the Grey Cup every year since coming into the league in 2016. Simone Lawrence, once again, Hamilton's nominee as most outstanding defensive player from his weak side linebacker spot. A breakout year for Stavros Katsantonis, the UBC product, at free safety. Big hitter with a nose for the football.
After a gain of 6 on that 2nd and 4, and not there for William Stanback. Ticats tough up front on him. Veteran linebacker Simone Lawrence in on that, as the punting unit will have to come on again for Montreal.
Well, Hamilton has historically been a tough team for William Stanback to run against. Ticats want to make sure that that holds true today, recognizing how important number 31 is to the Alouettes' offensive game plan.
The elder statesman of the Ticats in his 12th season out of the University of Minnesota, and a fixture in Hamilton to be sure. Azima, the punt for the second time. The first went into the end zone for a single. This one takes a hop to Tyreek McAllister. And he's covered well up around the 25. Simone Lawrence, leading tackler in the history of the Ticats, and he adds a playoff tackle right there to stop the Owls. William Stanback. Alouette football given up to Hamilton now, and the Ticats lead 3-1. Rod Smith, Dwayne Ford, Matthew Shinetti, and beautiful Montreal. What a gorgeous fall day for a football game. And a big one, too. It's playoff time, and it's the Ticats with the ball, and a 3-1 first quarter lead on the Montreal Alouettes. Late first quarter, Matthew Schiltz going to work, and the coverage was dangerous there as the corner, Kabian Ento, is jumping in front of Tim White and just got his fingertips on it. If he could have got that ball, he might have been gone.
Yeah, every now and then you get a reminder about the 65-yard width of this Canadian field. And the amount of time that Ento has to react and get there to make a play on the football. And a pass out to that sideline.
First incompletion for Matthew Schiltz. He is 6 for 7 now. A 2nd and 10 coming up at the Hamilton 25. Final minute, first quarter. With time, it's knocked down at the line of scrimmage, deflected. Lawal Ugawak, the rookie, getting his hand up, knocking that away, forcing Hamilton to punt.
Get off the field, baby, come on.
And Matt Dunnigan talked about the emergence. This young man coming from the right side of your screen, he loops inside. Great awareness to get that hand up in the passing lane. And the Alouettes' first-round picks this season made his way into the starting lineup late in the year. Spent time in his college career at both Connecticut and TCU, Texas Christian, where he finished up going to the college football playoff last year.
Kari Vedvik with his first punt of the day, and watch for James Letcher. Last week against the Ticats, he had a punt return for a touchdown. He has been brilliant, filling in for Chandler Worthy. Another great return here for Letcher to get it on the Ticats side of the field inside the 45. What an impression that young man has made, standing at 5'8" in just 4 games with the Alouettes.
Yeah, definitely shown some flash, allowed their return game to stay at a high level. Think about what Chandler Worthy had done for the Alouettes going back to the start of last season into this year. Letcher picking up right where Worthy left off. Big time playmaker.
Worthy suffered an ankle injury nearly a month ago. And you're right, they haven't missed a beat with Letcher. A 24-yard return. And what should be the last play of the first quarter. In the Alouette zone, or Ticat zone, it's complete. 2 down to the 35 for Austin Mack. And it looks like a pickup of, 10 yards and a first down. Alouettes in business to start the second quarter. Ticats moved the football well, but they suffered a turnover, gave up a punt single, drove down and got a field goal. That's where we stand, a 3-1 game. Through one quarter, the Eastern semifinal in Montreal. It's the Ticats 3, the Alouettes 1, and a look at the numbers so far. Of note more offensively for Montreal, or excuse me, Hamilton, Dwayne, the ability to at least move the football, and they've certainly controlled the time of possession. Yeah, and I think that's got to be something that's on Hamilton's mind, something that is an area of focus for them coming into this football game. When you look at Montreal, they're a team that can make some big plays, but really what they are is a very efficient team. We've talked about Cody Fajardo's completion percentage. You know, you've got guys like Tyson Philpott who are going to be guys who are going to take short passes, take them a long way. Tyler Snead, Austin Mack as well. A team that relies on high percentage passes and the ability of their receivers after the catch, allowing them to control the ball, control the clock a little bit. Important for Hamilton to give them a little bit of a taste of their own medicine, keep their defense on the field for a while. Starting the second quarter from the 35 and a first down, the toss left, going to William Stanback, who gets about 2 or 3 yards. It's Ted Laurent in on the tackle there for Hamilton.
Yeah, Hamilton relying a lot on the veterans in the middle of that defensive line. Veterans Ted Laurent, Casey Sales, of course, who joined the group from Winnipeg this season, Dylan Wynn. He and Laurent both battled injuries a lot through the regular season. Sales really emerging as a force as the season went on.
Cody Fajardo in 2nd and 8. Throws it to the left and completes it. Tyson Philpott had it. And it took a hit from Will Sunderland and the ball popped out. So an incomplete pass, saying he didn't have possession long enough. Good play by Sunderland to knock it loose from Philpott.
Yeah, well-timed hit here by Sunderland. First-year man Sunderland moved into the starting lineup. Javian Elliott was hurt in the second half of the season. A lot of shuffling went on in that Hamilton secondary over the course of the year.
David Cote, 3rd year out of Laval, good on 75% of his field goal tries. This one to be put down by Zima at the 40. Heading left, just tucking it in, that left upright for 3 on the board for the Alouettes. Answering the Ticat field goal with one of their own. So Matthew Schultz coming on now. Remember, he did start his career with the Alouettes. A look at that as he had 5 starts with Montreal over 4 seasons, Dwayne.
And always looking for an extended opportunity. That's kind of been the story of Matthew Schultz's career. Back up throughout his time as a Montreal Alouette. Moved on to Hamilton in free agency going into the 2022 season. Primarily backed up Dane Evans, but again, a lot of 2 quarterback looks. He found some playing time, and now a year later, getting his first playoff start.
1st and 10 from their 40 after that Alouette field goal. And going left is Tyreek McAllister. Much more involved in this offense, a pickup of 7 yards. Matthew Schultz, well, he's dealt with it over the years, Montreal and Hamilton. You play one snap, he says, you play one snap. You have to play a series, you play a series. You play 60 snaps in overtime, you play 60 snaps in overtime. That's how you have to look at it. That's how he looks at it here on a 2nd and 3 with his chance. And that one is thrown away towards the Alouette bench. It's Terry Godwin, the closest receiver for the Ticats. So a 3rd down is coming up. And the punting unit coming on for Orlando Steinauer's Ticats.
And the gist of that basically being for Matthew Schultz, I mean, if your job is to do whatever you're asked to do, whenever you're asked to do it, and if you don't, then expect the team to move on. That's the nature of the business. So he tries to make sure he's ready whenever and whatever is asked of him.
Vedvik, the punt. Letcher is back. His last return, first of this game, went for 24. Takes a hit, stays up, runs into his own teammate and keeps going and finally does get taken down across the 25. Beautiful day at McGill. The CFL East Division semifinal. He's been in the CFL since 2016, but this has been like a whole new year in the life and career of Cody Fajardo. Let's go back to Matthew.
Especially when you think about what happened a year ago and Cody Fajardo and how it ended in Saskatchewan for him alongside Jason Moss. And at that point, Cody Fajardo told us this week that he felt like he was close to retirement. And then when Jason Moss said, would you come to Montreal? And then when Danny Machocha, the general manager, watched all of Cody Fajardo's plays and snaps in his career and said, we're invested in you for 2 years. Well, Cody Fajardo said he felt like a rookie here. He wanted to get to know guys like Austin Mack and his struggles at Ohio State and Will Snead and what it was like to justify his talent as a shorter quarterback. And he says now this team feels like a band of misfit toys. Not a lot of people have bought in so far this season. We don't want the attention. Why change now, Rod?
And Matthew, you can really tell talking to him just what a new lease on his career it's meant after the way things ended with the Riders. And for his offensive coordinator there, Jason Moss, the faith he's had in him, the fresh start seems to look good on both of them here in Montreal.
Well, yeah, and I think that the support, the faith that Jason Moss has had in Cody Fajardo going back to the end of their combined tenure in Saskatchewan last year has really meant a lot to Cody. Played a massive role in terms of his decision to come to Montreal.
After that 4-yard gain, a 2nd and 6, Tyson Philpott hangs on to that outside the 40. So that is his first catch of this East Division semifinal. Last year's top rookie in the East and a first down after a gain of 12.
Yeah, Philpott, one of the many receivers who missed portions of this season due to injury. He got off to a late start, turning in another fine year. His sophomore season in the Alouette offense.
In his second year at the University of Calgary. Drafted in the first round from the 43. The handoff to Stanback, who grinds it up around the 48. Gain of 5 yards, 2nd and 5 coming up. Mentioned his completion percentage at 71.6 to lead the CFL this year. Another pretty good quarterback had one in that range back in 2009.
Yeah, and AC proving to be a pretty good mentor here for Cody Fajardo as the latter plays his first season with the Alouettes.
Leading passer in the history of the league and was renowned for his accuracy and efficiency. Fajardo in a 2nd and 5, rolling to his right, and he completes it to the wide open fullback, James Tuck, who spins. Doesn't get a lot of touches, but big number 40 took advantage of that time.
And not a lot of touches, but James Tuck making the most of whatever opportunity he gets. You see him line up as a tight end on the right side of your screen. Tuck with 9 catches during the regular season, targeted just 15 times. There you see the big body, former York University linebacker and rush end. Moved to fullback here in the CFL as you saw him rolling through a couple of tackles.
And a gain of 21. It's a little quarterback draw. inside. Lots of room for Cody Fajardo, still going inside the 20 and down to the 15. The deepest the Alouettes offense has gone in this game is they're knocking on the door.
Yeah, and I think because Cody Fajardo doesn't do this as often as he did earlier in his career, it's easy for people to sleep on how good an athlete the Alouettes quarterback is. Still a terrific runner, and he demonstrates that here. Making a couple miss for a big gain deep into Ticat territory.
So a 22-yard gain followed by a 27 for Fajardo. Two big plays down to the Ticat 14 with a 1-point lead. Fajardo and off to the right for Stanback. He can't hang on. It was Jameer Thurman, the middle linebacker, in on him just as the ball arrived. And a few words after the fact.
Yeah, that one with Fajardo facing some pressure, was just a little bit behind Stanback. He's trying to get his body turned, trying to adjust to catch that football. But in the meantime, Jameer Thurman was closing and was able to disrupt it.
2nd and 10 at the Ticat 14. Fajardo takes off again. He gets inside the 10. So not nearly close enough for a first down. Picks up 6 yards and a 3rd down coming up inside the Hamilton 10-yard line.
And Cody Fajardo, you can see the space in front of him. Looked like he was just a split second away. Terrific job by the former Alouette. Jamal Davis, picked up late in the year by Hamilton to track down his former teammate.
Heard a smattering of boos from the Alouette faithful here, thinking that maybe Jason Moss should be going for it on a long 3rd down inside the 10, but no. Cote does come in. They want those points. 3 more to see if they can make it a 7-3 ball game. Chip shot coming up here for Cote with the ball to be put down at the 15. He's 1 for 1. He's 2 for 2. And they do increase their lead in this low-scoring playoff game to get things started in the CFL. Tim White has had some explosive games, especially against the Alouettes, the CFL's leading receiver. But the Ticats offense due up next here on TSN. There he is, the leading receiver in the Canadian Football League, Tim White, rushing or catching for over 1,200 yards. This was against Montreal back in week 3. Right at the start of the game, he had 1 for 61 yards. He ended up with 7 catches for 143. Now, the Ticats did go on to lose that game, but certainly one of several big performances by Tim White.
Yeah, Tim White over 100 yards on 6 occasions this season.
Leading the Canadian Football League in that department as well. So the Ticats trailing on the ground. James Butler, nothing doing. Once again, Lawal Yugawak, the rookie, in on the stop. But head of the class indeed for Tim White. These are Ticats to lead the CFL in receiving. You go back to Brandon Banks. Remember the year he had 4 years ago. And then remember Matt Cody and, of course, Tony Champion back in '89.
Yeah. I think people remember that one Tony Champion catch in the Grey Cup from '89, but that was the end of a fantastic season for him. Matt Cody, of course, went to Hamilton from Birmingham with his quarterback Matt Dunnigan in '96.
Remember him well. 2nd and 10, Hamilton 40. With defenders in his face, he gets rid of it and completes it. It was a little underthrown, and Godwin was waiting for it. And a big completion, the biggest for the Ticats, and it looks like Schiltz is hobbled. He took a pop when he got that ball away, completing a 30-yard pass.
Yeah, not a clean throw here from Matthew Schiltz, and that's why this football hung up. You'll see right on the release. He's getting hit. The ball hangs up in the air. Fortunately, the receiver, Terry Godwin, was the first one to look back and make a quick adjustment to come back to the football as the defender, Deontay Ruffin, had overrun it a little bit.
You saw Bo Levi Mitchell standing by, should he be needed. Standing under center with the handoff on the sweep. It goes to Tim White on the 1st and 10. Schiltz still in this ball game. And Mitchell staying loose.
See, with the Ticats coming back with a run play there after Schultz took a shot. Whether that was the plan all along or just an opportunity to let him gather himself before dropping back to pass again after taking that big shot.
Second and 7 after that 3-yard gain by White. With time and complete as well. That's Keandre Smith. Has the ball for a first down.
Keandre Smith with a breakout year, career high 56 catches. 701 yards for the former Guelph Griffin this season. Still looking for his first touchdown of 2023, however.
At the Alouette 29. Ticats looking to answer right back. Schultz, lots of time to the left and a little bit too far outside for Butler with Reggie Stubblefield bearing down. Incomplete.
Ticats bringing in an extra O-lineman. Big Dayton Black coming on as a tight end to widen the edge, help out in their pass protection a little bit.
Third straight East Division semifinal meeting between these two teams. A year ago here, the Alouettes won it. 2 years ago at Tim Hortons Field, the Ticats won it. From the 29 and a 2nd and 10. Schultz. Coverage good by Sutton. Coming in on Keandre Smith to knock that away. And a field goal situation coming up.
Ticat receivers on the right side started off in a bit of a cluster, some crossing motion.
And we welcome viewers from TSN5 who've been watching Formula One racing in Sao Paulo. Rod Smith, Wayne Ford, Matthew Shinetti here in Montreal for the East Division semifinal. 7-3 ball game, Alouettes lead, second quarter. About 5 minutes to go. Mark Leggio coming on now to attempt a 36-yard field goal to close this game back to within 1. Leggio is 1 for 1. The spot, the kick on the way, and it is good. Couple of field goals for Leggio. 6 on the board for the Ticats. Both offenses have been able to move. Just not cash in with a touchdown yet. A little early now in this game for the playoff version of the Coors Light. Moment of chill, but it is playoff time. These moments, yes, chill, and you can't help but think maybe a little tension mixed in there as well. It's a different animal, isn't it, when you're getting ready for a playoff game?
Nothing like it. This chill is the calm before the storm.
Even for the coach, Orlando Steinauer, Simone Lawrence. Just those moments before the biggest game of all so far.
And even the back
Coors Light, moment of chill in a conversation. Go Levi Mitchell and Matthew Schultz. Alouette football back to a one-point game. Pressure coming on Cody Fajardo, who tried to dump it off to Austin Mack, but it goes over his head. And a second down coming up. Simone Lawrence was coming in.
Yeah, coming from his backside, but Cody Fajardo, veteran, had some awareness. You see Simone coming from second level here. Just off the hip of Jagarrett Davis on the blitz.
Fajardo's 5 for 7, 76 yards. But not at a touchdown in this game. It is 2nd and 10 from the Montreal 40 as he steps up and just shuffles it off there to get some yardage up to the 50. And that's Jake Hardy, veteran receiver out of the University of Calgary. Doesn't get a lot of touches, but he got 9 yards on that improvised pass play.
Fajardo, you see the eyes staying downfield as he steps up in the pocket. Hardy there is an outlet man. Originally an Ottawa Red Blacks draft pick. Spent the last couple of years in Saskatchewan with Cody Fajardo and Jason Moss before moving east.
Caleb Evans in for the short yardage on this 3rd down and 1 and gets it across the 50. A couple of yards, enough to move the chains in a first down for the Alouettes. Approaching the 3-minute warning until the end of the first half.
No real big plays in this game either way. So far, both teams kind of grinding it out. High percentage passes, looking to their run game a little bit.
Defense is bending, not breaking. The Alouette 51, first down. William Stanback still waiting for that breakout run that he's been known to have, but no. Ticats have him wrapped up nicely and pushed back. Middle linebacker Jameer Thurman. Three-minute warning is given. Under 3 to go on the clock here at McGill. 1-point game. East Division semifinal. Playoff day on TSN.
We've got a huge halftime planned here for semifinal Saturday. We're going to break down Matthew Schultz's performance so far, and maybe, just maybe, we'll have enough time for these two guys at the back. You guys doing okay back there?
We're here.
They came all that way, Kate. Got to see him. Halftime coming up. Back in the studio. Not only in this game, but to set up the West Division semifinal. BC plays the Stampeders and the Lions. Right now, 1-point game. 2:44 in the clock. Pressure coming, and down goes Fajardo. The blitzing Jameer Thurman. His first year with the Ticats comes in this playoff game and picks up a big sack and a loss of 11 yards.
Yeah, Jameer Thurman. See him, the inside man standing up. 30 front, he and Malik Carney from their linebacker positions. Break down that offensive line with him looping around. Jameer Thurman, not surprisingly, has been a very noticeable performer for this Tiger Cat defense in the opening 30 minutes of this ballgame.
Joseph Zima to punt. Tyreek McAllister is back for the return. Inside is 20. Good coverage. Alouettes. Special teams tackles leader Tyrese Beverett in on the tackle. There's the defensive coordinator Noel Thorpe, his defensive unit about to go back on, and we talked about the moment of chill before. Well, this is Noel Thorpe's moment of chill. Just find a spot by yourself. A little serenity before the intensity begins.
Yes, little solitude. Had a good chat with Noel earlier this season. But his pregame prep, his pregame music choices, get himself in the mood.
Intense now from the Hamilton 30, though, late first half. Ticat ball. James Butler, the carrier, picks up a couple at most. Call it 3 for Butler. Lawal Ugawak at a TCU in Connecticut before then, originally from Edmonton, and one of the top draft picks in 2023.
And number 7 overall, one of 2 first-round picks for the Alouettes for the 2nd consecutive year. They've had 2 in the first round. Their high picks in recent years have served them well when you go back a couple years to guys like Lestage and Dequoy as well, all having an impact.
From the Hamilton 33, 2nd down, Sean Lemon adds to his sack totals. He had a bunch in the regular season. In his great career, he's got a playoff sack there. The Lemonator, and a loss of 8.
Sean Lemon coming from the left side of your screen. It's a little inside-out head fake on Tyrone Riley. You heard him tell Matthew Shinetti before the game he didn't care who was playing quarterback. He's going to sack them both.
No longer a moment of chill, a moment of celebration for that man. Alouette defensive coordinator Noel Thorpe on the sack by Sean Lemon to force the Ticats late in this first half to kick it away from their 10, Corey Vedvik. One and a half minutes to go until halftime. James Letcher, around his 30. And he's tied up and ultimately taken down Thurman to finish him off there. For 52 yards. AM Pacific on TSN. Great weekend of football. These Saturday playoff games in the CFL. One coming up in Vancouver later on. And great turnout by the fans here at Molson Stadium. To cheer on their Alouettes. 1st and 10 from the 39. 1:16 on the clock. That one is a bit too far. The intended receiver is Cole Speaker with Dexter Lawson on the coverage for Hamilton.
You talk about the crowd here in Montreal today, and it's a pretty good mix. I've seen a lot of black and gold in the crowd.
So not all cheering on the Alouettes.
That's it. Some of the Ticats faithful have made the trek.
You know,
some of them didn't have far to go. Felix Garon-Gauthier, the Quebecois players, the Ticats, obviously with some friends and family here.
Still over a minute. 2nd and 10. It's complete. No, it's Austin Mack could not hang on. Kenneth George is right there as he took a pop. A little sandwich. Stavros Katsantonis, the great year at safety with Hamilton. So 3rd down coming up.
Austin Mack looks a little wobbly as he makes his way to the Alouette sideline. That'll be a storyline certainly for us to keep an eye on. Such a key member of this Alouette offense. Stavros Katsantonis. A little bit of a throwback from that safety position. Throwing the body around with reckless abandon.
He's really grabbed the reins at safety with the injury to Tunde Adeleke. His 3rd year at a UBC. Joseph Zima to punt. 1:07 on the clock as he got that one away to McAllister. Off to the right. Cuts up. He takes a pop. Hit hard. Taken down. Brock Gowanluck, the special teams tackle. 2nd year at the University of Manitoba.
Yeah, the Bisons sneaking into the Canada West playoffs in exciting fashion. Brock Gowanluck, standing former Bison's defensive end. Another great draft pick for these Alouettes, developing over the last couple of years.
Sean Thomas Erlington in at running back. Matthew Schultz looks to throw, and it's deflected and intercepted. Darnell Sankey into his hands. Another turnover committed by the Ticats, and this has set up the Alouettes late in the 1st half at the Hamilton 30.
Oh, we talked about the efficiency of the Montreal Alouettes. The accuracy of Cody Fajardo, how Montreal doesn't turn over the ball a lot. I know when we talked to Tim White this week and we asked him, talk about one thing that would allow his Tiger Cats to be successful this week. He said, don't turn over the football. We can't turn over the ball. A deflected one here results in an interception by middle linebacker Darnell Sankey. Sean Thomas Erlington injured trying to make the tackle there. Hamilton running back.
He remains down on the field right where the tackle was made of Darnell Sankey. Added mid-season after the injury to Avery Williams. And good to see Sean Thomas Erlington up on his knees now and looks to be okay. Sankey, who had been with Saskatchewan, with Calgary before, in fact, had been a teammate in 2021 with Jameer Thurman with the Stampeders.
D-A-N-D. O-T, D-A-N-D.
I banged 51 afterwards.
You the one that hit him?
I banged right afterwards.
Who got that?
They're still tending to Sean Thomas Erlington. Another look at what happened here after the pick.
55, 55. 55.
And you see Thomas Earlington with a couple of big bodies, David Beard and Avery Williams, coming from the other side of Darnell Sankey as he went to make the tackle. He really kind of ran into a brick wall. You could see his head and neck jolted back on contact there, but glad to see Thomas Earlington make it to the sidelines under his own power. No Austin Mack on the field, it appears. Oh, he is wide right. Sorry, in there, wide right, far away.
Fajardo looking his way. Austin Mack, touchdown.
Definitely on the field.
Definitely is, and we wondered that hit he took before, would he be able to come back? Just came back on the field, and he has himself a playoff touchdown grab. First touchdown of the game for the Alouettes, first one of the game period, as the Alouettes increase their lead just before halftime.
Well, the Alouettes on the sudden change after that turnover. Looking for their go-to guy. Austin Mack bouncing back after taking the big hit from Katsantonis on the last series. It's in behind coverage for the game's first touchdown.
Timely too with 44 on the clock. Cote the point after. And it's good, and it's now a 14-6 lead, an 8-point lead, biggest lead of the ball game so far. Mack made quite a statement in this league right from game one. First game against Ottawa, Fajardo hit him with a big pass. And he had over 100 yards receiving in his CFL debut, over 1,000 on the season.
And there you see Mack, top of your screen, the widest receiver out to the right, manages to beat the jam, slips in behind. Like maybe a little bit of miscommunication between defenders on that wide side of the field for the Ticats. Max slipping in behind coverage. Break things open a little bit here.
30-yard touchdown pass, Cody Fajardo to Austin Mack. First playoff touchdown pass is an Alouette for Cody Fajardo. Kicking off now, under a minute to go. Tyreek McAllister, leading kick returner in the Canadian Football League as far as the kickoff returns go. He gets it up across the 43, a return of 27 yards.
Take a look. You see Cody Fajardo taking a little bit of a hit as he throws that football. He'll gladly take that trade-off to put the major on the board. Mack perhaps with a few words for the Hamilton bench on his way by.
Still time to get close enough to try a field goal. They get a couple of big passing plays here. Swinging it out though to McAllister though, and he is taken down by Sean Lemon, who was a sack in this game as well. Just a gain of 3, 31 seconds to go.
As you talk about Sean Lemon with a sack in this one, we saw the Darnell Sankey interception. A couple of veteran mid-season additions to the Alouette D making an impact.
They whistle it down now on this 2nd and 7.
Timeout, Montreal.
With the Alouettes calling the timeout just before the snap of the ball. So they're up at around just across the 45. Mark Leggio was hitting at 55 yards in warm-up. Halftime coming up. Kate Burness, Davis Sanchez, Matt Dunnigan, Milt Stiegel. A couple of others waiting in the wings.
Well,
a couple of coaches.
I'm just saying, like, You know, Jim and Lapo have been exiled to the little desk. They don't even get to appear in the promo.
Yeah, we used to call that the kids' table. Jim and Lapo love to hear that. We'll hear from them too. Playoff time. Bigger crew. Excitement brewing too as we get ready for our coverage of Grey Cup 110. Just a couple of weeks away. Hard to believe the speed of this season. In this game, we're almost at halftime. Taking off is Schultz. Takes a hit, gets it across midfield. 19 on the clock. So as said, Legio was kicking from around midfield in warm-up and hitting them. They get about 5-10 more yards. That might be worth a shot.
If you want to try that before the half with James Letcher Jr.
That's the other part of the equation, isn't it? And this won't help. Lost yardage in a situation like this especially never does. And that's one of the Eastern All-Stars, Mustafa Johnson, with the takedown there. He was second on the team in sacks in the regular season with 7.
And this is one where he takes advantage of the fact that the O-lineman Revenberg has his back to the quarterback in pass protection. He didn't know his QB was stepping up. It changes your angles in protection. Johnson gets home.
This should be the last play of the half. It is complete. Keandre Smith going down. We have zeros on the clock. And a player is down for the Ticats as well.
Right tackle Tyrone Riley.
And the tackle's there, Tyrone Riley. So interesting first half that had been close most of the way. Cody Fajardo for Tyler Sneed there. Both offenses, as said, could move the ball down the field. Finally, we got a touchdown late in the half. And that was when Fajardo hit Austin Mack. Cody Fajardo standing by with Matthew Schnetti.
Cody, did you know that Austin Mack was in the locker room right before he came out for that play? And I guess right place, right time, eh?
It was a quick turnaround. Big play by Sankey to get us in the red zone. And he was in the locker room, so we were in a different personnel. I saw him jogging out like it was a movie. Came in, and we had the right play called against their defense, and he went up and made a play.
Only 8 points. What's going to be the message in the locker room ahead of the second half?
We got to finish our drives with 7 points and not 3. I thought we've done a great job of moving the football, but when we've gotten down there, they've stiffened up and they made it difficult on us. We knew this was going to be a 4-quarter battle. Our defense is playing great. I think we're moving the ball well. We just got to finish with touchdowns.
Thanks, Cody.
Thank you.
Kate, a battle indeed, but Austin Mack's touchdown now gives the Owls an 8-point lead.
And back alongside David Sanchez, Matt Dunnigan, Milt Stiegel, and at the cool desk, which is now going to be referred to as the kids' table, it is Jim Barker and Paul Lapolice. We'll get to their thoughts in just a moment. But by far the biggest story of that first half had to be the quarterback situation for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. They decided to go with Matthew Schultz. He started fantastic in the game, Matt, and then since then it has kind of gone off the rails a little bit. The INT that led to a touchdown on the next play for the Alouettes just kind of cherry on top of what happened in that first half.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of people calling for Bo Levi Mitchell in the second half. I'm not.
Me?
Yeah, well, that's fine. Okay, you'll get your shot. And you know, that INT wasn't his fault. Tip ball at the line of scrimmage, right? And Sankey makes a play. Keandre Smith put a ball on the ground. And fumbled the football early in the half, and to me that led to points. And then the touchdown off of that led to points. And I'm telling you, this football game is exactly how playoff games typically go. End games between these two football teams comes down to turnovers, and those first 2 turnovers in the half led to 8 points for the Montreal Alouettes, which is the lead right now. And to me, it's one of those things where, yeah, it's easy to say, hey, get the other guy in there. I'm not sure if it's going to be any better. And I know there can be an argument that Bo Levi is a veteran and he'll get a vertical game going and get opportunity. I'm not sure if Montreal's defense is giving Hamilton a vertical opportunity right now. I just think this is one of those playoff games that you play close to your vest, and whether it's Schultz or whether it's Bo Levi in the second half, I can tell you, I don't think it's about their offense and Hamilton's offense and who's playing quarterback. I think it's more about Montreal's defense than it has been all season.
For me, it's not that Matthew Schultz has played terrible, but I'm going with Bo Levi Mitchell, no question, to start the third quarter. Because one thing I've seen is Noel Thorpe is going to rush 4, and they're getting there. Matthew Schultz, he doesn't seem willing to want to squeeze the ball in those tight windows down the field. And you know who will? Bo Levi Mitchell. Now, whether he has success or not, I don't know. But if Hamilton has no chance to win this game unless they attack vertically and try to get the ball in those tight windows, Bo will do that. And I believe they start the third quarter with Bo. I think Orlando's going to go there.
He said he was going to play both quarterbacks. So you put him in and people won't be surprised. And also, this team right now, they're not playing with energy. You need a spark. The easiest way to give your team a spark is if your quarterback can come in and make some plays. Because right now, they're not getting it done. You know, they're still in this game, but if they can't come out in this second half and produce, we know Montreal is going to score some more points. They've been known to score points offensively, defensively, special teams-wise. So these Hamilton Tiger Cats, they have to get going. They can't go into that fourth quarter and be down by 10, 14 points. So I think in this second half, they need to come with Bo Levi Mitchell and get an opportunity.
Montreal's been bad in the red zone all year, too.
Yeah, agreed. All right, let's take a look at the two comparison quarterbacking right now between Cody Fajardo and Matthew Schultz. Cody, 7 of 12 so far. He's got 115 yards. He's got the 1 TD. Schultz, as we've been mentioning, struggling at the second half of the first half there. 10 of 16 for 99 yards. We're 2-1 of Bo getting in over Schultz at this point. What do you think, Paul LaPolice?
You know what I'm going to say? I don't care which quarterback plays, Jim. I just want to see a little bit more James Butler, right? If they can get James Butler going a little bit, but here's what has to happen. You know, there's 28 passes by both football teams in this game, Jim. There's one that's over 20 yards, and it was a touchdown. You're 5 times more likely to score when you get an explosive play. So that's what's got to happen. They've got to be able to make sure they can get an explosive play. But the problem with these explosive plays is when you take too many of those shots on 1st and 10, you sit in situations where both teams are struggling on 2nd and long, and 2nd and 10, you know, it's just not a strength of both of those teams overcoming. Maybe Bo Levi Mitchell helps them with that, but they got to create some more explosive plays to flip the field.
Well, the thing that was a bit frustrating was they started the game and they had a definite plan. They ran a quarterback runs. He got 10 yards on the only run he had, and then they stopped. If you're going to play Schultz, do the thing Schultz can do. And have him run the ball, use him to hold the edges so that you open up some lanes for Butler. I agree with you. I think that if Schultz is going to stay in the game, they need to get back to more of the things they did. They showed some great formation things. They did some tight end wing. They even started the game with just a center and 2 guards with the tackles out wide with the wide receivers and gashed them for 7 or 8, 9 yards. So I want to see him get back to doing the things they have to do if I'm Hamilton. Montreal, they're playing solid. They don't turn the ball over. Hamilton, again, has turned the ball over, and that's what's hurt them.
Yeah, and certainly I love, like Tyreek McAllister had 2 screen passes early in that. They had a really good plan in that first quarter. They got to go back, figure out what they need to do early in that third quarter to get things rolling. That's what we're seeing back here,
so
Kate.
That's
what we see back here.
For the record, neither one of you answered the question. You didn't answer the question. Who do you put in?
Who do you put back there?
Who do you do it?
Question.
When you start in the second half.
It doesn't matter. You
answer the question.
Schultz.
Thank you.
That is.
We are just getting warmed up on this Saturday. For the second year in a row, it is the BC Lions and the Calgary Stampeders in the Western semifinal. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers awaiting the winner in the Western final that will, of course, go next week. Joined now by our Farhan Lalji. And Farhan, I think a lot of people look at the game last year and it was all BC dominating that one. But then week 20 of this season, Calgary definitely flipped the script. What are you looking for into this one today?
Well, we're going to see how BC handles that Calgary run game. You mentioned similar storyline to last year, but honestly, two other players I'm keeping an eye on, and that's a couple of receivers who were game-time decisions 2 weeks ago when these two teams played. One was Reggie Bagleton, just a couple of weeks removed from 2 broken ribs, but he knew after warm-up, despite the pain he was feeling, there was no way he could miss that game because it's such a different offense and receiving core when he's in there. From a playing standpoint, from a leadership standpoint, he said he felt it during the game. He made that big catch down near the goal line, dropped one earlier. In both situations, he felt the injury. Taking last week off has really helped him. He feels very fresh for this one. Keon Hatcher went through a lot in warm-up, and he knew that if he played in that game, he could have wound up leading the league in receiving, but he was worried about his hamstring and the possibility of popping it and not being available for this game. So he sat that one out. He said that the bye following that has done wonders for him. He's got that speed back and is not concerned at all about the injury. So both of those players are going to have an impact in this game. And you mentioned the running game, and so I've been keeping an eye on what's happened with Sione Tuhema, the Lions defensive end. He was ejected early in this game after taking a pair of personal fouls and then was subsequently suspended. We thought he was going to appeal. Late in the week, it was decided he would not appeal, so he won't play in this game. And from a club perspective, they're not too upset about it because it allows them to dress Marcus Moore, who's 280 pounds. He's a bigger body, and that might help against that Calgary run game. And with some of the other ratio changes they're making on offense, it completely frees them up to play whichever defensive player they want, whenever they want, regardless of ratio. So I think they feel they're a little more stout against the run with the defensive lineup they're going to field today.
Well, Farhan, they ran the ball 31 times, 206 yards, 3 touchdowns. So they've got to do something in this one if they want a better result. All right, coming up after the Tiger Cats and the Alouettes, it is the Calgary Stampeders taking on the BC Lions. You can see that 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific. But of course, we need to finish up this game first. A nice touchdown pass here to Austin Mack, his first of the postseason. We got stats coming up next. Since they refused to answer the question in the first block, we are now making Lambo and Jim do stats together.
Well, for Montreal, no turnovers. You're going to win games if you do that. But rushing yards are a concern. They have 54, but half of them came on one Cody Fajardo run. So they need to get Stanback involved. They got 8 points off turnovers, Lapo.
Yeah, and I think Hamilton's playing what they wanted. They got 100 yards passing. They got 71 yards rushing. They're somewhat balanced. The 2 turnovers are what killed them, gave them the 8 points. James Butler's got to get going, 6 of 29. They've got 7-play drive and an 8-play drive in the first quarter. They got to get that rhythm back, everybody.
No penalties.
No penalties. No clean first half. Fantastic. Alouettes currently up 14-6. We'll get you back to Smitty and Ford after this.
Halftime in Montreal, the Alouettes lead the East Division semifinal 14-6 over Orlando Steinauer's Tiger Cats. Here's the head coach now with Matthew Shinetti.
Coach, will there be a change at quarterback for the second half?
We'll see.
What will go into your decision-making process if there is a change?
It's a 1-score game. We're excited where we're at. We gotta take care of the football right now. We gotta play better in all 3 phases. I'm pleased with how physical we're being. We just gotta have better execution.
In terms of that physicality, you had a lot of success running the ball with James Butler. Do you suspect that you'll want to go back to the ground game to unsettle their defensive line?
Yeah, we need to lean on them a little bit, definitely. A lot of football to be played. You know, we're gonna start out here on defense. It's gonna be important that we put a decent showing there. And then offense, we gotta put the ball in the end zone. It's a simple game. We can't make it complicated.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
He said it. We talked about it in studio at the half, Dwayne. Protect the football. The points off the turnovers, the 8-point difference in this game so far.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, we kind of looked at each other wondering when that first turnover happened, the fumble, when the Ticats were in scoring territory on their opening drive, but then obviously even more so with the interception that gave Montreal a very short field and led to the game's only touchdown.
James Letcher, one of the returners back for the Alouettes, along with Tyson Philpott. Montreal to get the ball to start this second half with an 8-point lead off the foot of Leggio, and Philpott, he gets it at the 30, finds some room, still going across the 50. So good field position to begin for the Montreal Alouettes after a 30-yard return by Tyson Philpott. The half ended strong off the turnover, the pick by Sankey, and then the touchdown to Mack.
Yeah, great way to start things off in the second half here for the Montreal Alouettes. Philpott, as he's so often asked to do on offense, picking up some yards after that initial contact to give the Alouettes great field position.
William Stanback in at running back starting this second half. Cody Fajardo across their 50 and handing off to 31, who gets it across midfield, and the pack just keeps moving like a rugby scrum all the way close to, it looks like a first down. 12 yards, initially stopped after about 3, and they just kept moving.
The whole mob, the Alouettes, imposing their will here. Stanback keeps his feet, keeps the legs driving, and it's kind of one at a time. The rest of the Alouettes come and join the party to keep things moving along.
Even backpedaling, turned around. Great work by Stanback and a first down at the Hamilton 46. Little pump fake. Fajardo tries to buy himself some time. He does. He completes it to Philpott. Down around the Hamilton 42.
Quick stop there from Will Sunderland to limit the gain to about 5 for Philpott and the Alouettes. Had the bigger bodies in the lineup for that last play. They'll go back to their base 5 receiver set here.
Despite these teams' ability to move down the field and get into scoring range, they were saying settling for field goals. This is the first touchdown scored. Austin Mack late in the first half. And an 8-point lead. Fajardo, 2nd and 5. He completes that one to Stanback. First down and more down inside the 35. Taken down by Stavros Katsantonis. 6 more yards on the reception by William Stanback.
Yeah, and this is where you're seeing how critical, how valuable those late points were for the Alouettes, knowing that they were going to have the football here to open the second half. An opportunity to essentially put up what for all intents and purposes would be back-to-back scores. Open this game right up.
Down to the Ticat 35. Fajardo handing off to Stanback again. And again, turned around and tried to push for a little bit more, but just a couple more yards. So talk about a lineage of great running backs in the history of the Montreal Alouettes. William Stanback moved ahead of Tyrell Sutton, but Mike Pringle, who was here earlier today for the coin toss, leading the way. What a remarkable Hall of Fame career for 27 Pringle. Over 9,600 yards with Montreal. And he is so honored.
Yeah, Pringle here for the coin toss. Tyrell Sutton on that Montreal coaching staff. And, of course, William Stanback continuing to add to his totals and try to climb that list.
3 more yards, 2nd and 7. Ticat 32. Oh, and a good defensive play by Jagarrett Davis. Defensive end back in coverage on Stanback there as he just knocks it away.
Yeah, well-timed jump here by Jagarrett Davis, who ranged out from his DN position to follow Stanback to the flat.
Came into the CFL in 2016 with Calgary. Every year of his career, he has gone to the Grey Cup at least, winning it with Toronto last year. Jagarrett Davis in tough right now with his Ticats trailing here in the second half in Montreal. A 40-yard field goal attempt for Cote. 3 more on the board. 2-score game. As we wonder who will come on the field at quarterback, it is still Matthew Schultz for the Ticats, but more pressure on that Ticats offense. Now down by 11, 3rd quarter, East semifinal. This is the first playoff start for Matthew Schultz, and has shown an ability to move the ball down the field, Wayne, but they only have 6 points to show for it so far.
Yeah, and again, turnovers obviously playing a factor, particularly when you go back to their opening possession this football game where they marched it down, got off to a great start after winning the coin toss and choosing to take the ball. But things seem to tighten up a little bit for the Tiger Cats as that first half went on.
He starts the second half. Stands in, throws to the right, and finds a receiver trying to keep the feet in. It's Omar Bayless. They discuss. Bayless says he did. They're still talking it over. Was it a catch? Yes. First down, Ticats on that reception by Bayless. A gain of 22 yards.
And this one hung up there looking at the toes of the left foot, and it looks like he managed to just keep those inside the boundary of the field long enough to secure that grab. Nice job by Bayless. Great concentration.
Inside the L zone at the Montreal 48. Omar Bayless. Now James Butler. Good run. Butler down to the 35. You heard Orlando Steinauer talking to Matthew Shinetti about that, needing to reestablish the running game that was working well early on in the first quarter.
And a change on that Tiger Cat O-line that we'll keep an eye on. Remember, Tyrone Riley was down on the field, the right tackle, as the first half ended. Chris Van Zyl, who has barely played this season, much of his career one of the best right tackles in the game, he comes on now at that familiar spot.
Butler again. Van Zyl on that front, yeah, the veteran, 15th season out of McMaster. And Uguak in on the tackle on Butler there. A remarkable career for Chris Van Zyl, who's been a top lineman. Won an award for that during that career with the Ticats. Started with the Argos, won championships there, and went to Grey Cups with Hamilton as well.
Originally a Montreal Alouette draft choice back in 2007.
From the 31, Schultz tries to take off, but he's taken down. The middle linebacker Darnell Sankey gets him. Sankey, who had the big pick late in the first half that led to Montreal's touchdown.
Well, Sankey, you see him tucked just inside of Sean Lemon. Lemon drops out. Sankey comes on the rush. Able to fold back into the play as Schultz tries to take off there.
Mark Leggio 2 for 2. This is longest try at 39. Bedvick puts it down, and Leggio puts it through. And some much needed points for the Ticats to make it an 8-point game again. Sankey, another big defensive play for the first year Alouette. His team still leading third quarter. It is time now for Loads of Taste, presented by Tim Hortons. How about Austin Mack in that first half? Took this shot, Dwayne, from Stavros Katsantonis. We both thought he might be out for a while, but he certainly did come back.
Yeah, he looked a little wobbly going to the sidelines, but came back for the next offensive series for the Alouettes. Catching a touchdown pass, and he looks good to go. The Alouettes' leading receiver, most outstanding player this season. Right, a great moment for the fans here at Molson Stadium.
One of the top receivers in the Canadian Football League, an Eastern All-Star, and the only touchdown scored in this game so far. That's thrown out of bounds by Cody Fajardo, but yeah, a great first year. Can't be classified a rookie because of his time with the New York Giants in the NFL, but most receiving yards in his first CFL season with the Alouettes. James Scott, you remember Billy White Shoes Johnson?
Of course. Yeah, both those guys NFL veterans when they came up here to catch passes from one Vince Ferragamo. 1981.
That's when the Alouettes under owner Nelson Scalabrini were really loading up, and a couple of former NFL receivers, and Scott and Billy White Shoes Johnson. From the Montreal 40, 2nd and 10. Fajardo trying to get away. The ball squirts out. Was he down? They let it play out. It's picked up by ex-Alouette Jamal Davis. You see Jagarrett Davis involved in that play.
Cody Fajardo seemed quite confident that he was down as you saw Davis jawing at the bench of his former team.
The previous play is under review by the command center.
Yeah, he is down. It appears his hip or backside touches the turf before that ball is punched out.
It was several weeks ago Jamal Davis left the Alouettes and looked like an acrimonious parting, and then, as you pointed out, saw him giving it to looked like a few ex-teammates there as he went by the Alouette sideline. So, but look at that replay. Doesn't look like the ex-Alouette gets the fumble recovery, but it's still a big play defensively. Jagarrett Davis and the Ticat defense. They're just giving it a review to make sure that Fajardo was down before the ball came out. So command center has had a look for the referee of today's game, Tim Croker.
After automatic review by the command center, it's determined the runner was down by contact. It's third down Montreal at the 40-yard line.
As you said, they don't get the turnover, but still forcing this third down punting situation. Timely plays. We saw Malik Carney with his first sack since July earlier in this ballgame. Jagarrett Davis hadn't had a sack all season, as he did an extended stint on the injured list as well.
You can see something to fire up Orlando Steinauer there. Big stop by the defense after the offense went down and got 3. Still trailing by 8 as they were at the half. That one way left and bounces and heads out of bounds. A 52-yard punt, and well placed by Joseph Zima to deny any kind of return for McAllister. But a little fired up on both sides. Certainly on Montreal's, the Alouettes midway through the third quarter, leading this East Division semi by a score. Here in Montreal, the CFL playoffs have begun. East semifinal. The winner gets to go to BMO Field in Toronto and face the 16-2 Argonauts in the East Division final for the right to go to the Grey Cup. And right now, the Alouettes lead it. It is 17-9 over Hamilton. Third straight year these two have met in the East semi. Matthew Schultz still at quarterback. And it looks like it was deflected, and it looked like a flag comes out as well, and Avery Williams was the closest to it. First flag of the game. Noel Thorpe looking for a hold against Hamilton. There was pressure up at the line with that ball being thrown. The left tackle, Jordan Murray.
Holding. Hamilton under 59. That penalty is declined. It's second down.
You see Murray at the tail end. See him with the arm kind of up around the neck of Sean Lemon, who's caused nightmares for a few tackles in this league over the years.
The rookie Ugoak, too, working on Chris Van Zyl, the one to get his hand up and get a piece of that ball as it was thrown. Pressure on Schultz. 2nd and 10. He gets it away to the left. Oh, an open receiver. Tim White, or excuse me, Chris Osikusi, who was falling down, does catch it, but no, falling down out of bounds. And so Hamilton will have to punt.
Yeah, along that sideline, you see what's going on with Schultz as he starts to scramble. Osikusi had started to come back towards his quarterback to help out. So he's going to work down towards the sideline and then sees the ball being thrown and starts working back up. Just lost his footing.
James Letcher on the return near midfield, goes across it, still tiptoeing his way through before taken down at the Montreal, the Hamilton 51, their side of the field. Oh, in all, beautiful catch by Osikusi. The problem was he was out. Montreal ball. Here at Molson Stadium, signs of the proud football history of the Montreal Alouettes, and those banners, 7 of them, to mark past Grey Cup championships. That history near and dear to their head coach, Jason Maas. Matthew?
Absolutely. Well, the one thing about this, Rod, when you take a look at those 7 championships, is you think about Marv Levy, and you think about Mike Pringle, who's here tonight. You think about Anthony Calvillo, and you think about all those players who made Montreal so integral to that Grey Cup history. Well, this year, what has Jason Maas tried to do? Have the tagline GREAT, GR8, as in Great 8. And to this point, all season long, it's been about the work ethic. And he said to his team today before the game, don't change a thing. So often this season, we've talked about what Jason Maas has tried to do to make this team more connected to its city, to have pride in speaking the French language, being a French team, and recognizing its military heritage. And today, he said, come the playoffs, it's now time to be remembered. Well,
Matthew on the toss to stand back. Chris Edwards in on the tackle as this Ticat defense really firming up. But Jason Maas, yeah, it's interesting to hear him talk about it without a history to the organization still coming in. A greater one with Edmonton, but still embracing it just as he becomes head coach. And there's a lot about what happened in the past and just the culture here, everything. He has soaked it in, and he's wanted everyone to appreciate it, all the players.
Yeah, he really has. Jason Maas has proven to be a perfect fit for this team and this community.
2nd and 12. That's complete. Over the middle, short, but good yardage after the catch for Stanback. First down inside the Tiger Cat 35. And don't look now. Here come the Alouettes again.
Yeah, just gaining momentum. William Stanback, as is the Alouettes' way, takes a short pass. Makes the first one miss. Little juke on Chris Edwards. Running through contact a little further down as he picks up another Alouette first down.
Just inside the 35. Past the midway point of the 3rd quarter. 17-9 Montreal. Fajardo. Jamal Davis couldn't get him. And Fajardo gets a lot of yardage afterwards. Cody Fajardo runs it all the way down to the Ticat 15.
Great job here by Fajardo, looking left initially with the pass. That lane's closed off, but he recognizes he's pulled Jamal Davis up the field, which has created a run lane inside. A little high step as he runs away from the Hamilton defensive end. Back-to-back first downs on the ground for Montreal.
3 carries in this game for Cody Fajardo for 51 yards, 17 per. And they're really pressing now, just shy of the 15. 1st and 10, trying to add to that 8-point lead again. Looking off to the left, down to the 5, intercepted Richard Leonard. They both play dead. Leonard, who had 2 picks in one game back in week 9 off Fajardo, gets a big pick there to prevent any more points on the board at this point by Montreal.
Well, that is a massive and much-needed play for Mark Washington's defense and this Hamilton Tiger Cat team as a whole. Keeping this as a 1-score game. Again, it's that throw out to the wide side. Richard Leonard kind of out-battles Austin Mack for position. Getting to that football. Comes up with a big grab, quickly ruled down by contact. Now, you saw a little bump as Leonard goes to make a play on the ball. I wonder if Montreal might look to challenge for pass interference on this one.
And there it is. The challenge flag is thrown by Jason Maas. Let me give this another look. Veteran Richard Leonard.
Montreal is challenging the previous play for pass interference. The play will be reviewed.
And it just appeared at the tail end. The replay that Leonard might have come through Mack. to make that play on the football. I think both players are moving on this one, so you're going to just keep an eye on Leonard on the corner. Mack is going to come from the slot. He's the number 2 receiver starting out on the hash. He's going to break out into Leonard's territory. Leonard will let the outside man go, and he'll step forward on this ball. Now, both of them are moving, and I think in watching this replay, I think he beats Mack to the spot. That's why he gets the football. They're both moving. Mack isn't already in position with Leonard coming through him. So you can see a glance, shoulder-to-shoulder glance there. But that's at a point where both players are moving towards the ball. Leonard gets to the ball first.
Leonard with 3 interceptions on the season, has mentioned 2 of them in one game off Cody Fajardo, who has thrown 3 interceptions in the red zone in the regular season. And if this stands, you'd have another one thrown in the red zone here, looking for Austin Mack. Leonard jumps in front. There was contact, but will they rule? He had a right to the pick. Here's the call.
After review by the command center, the ruling on the field stands. Montreal been losing a challenge, is now out of timeouts. First down, Hamilton.
So the team that suffered from turnovers in the first half picks up a big one there, courtesy Richard Leonard, the interception off Cody Fajardo. They're deep in their own zone, but it's still a 17-9 game. As Matthew Schultz is still in at quarterback for the Ticats. They drove down for a field goal last time around. Schultz handing off to Butler. Over the 10, thrown down by Stubblefield, but thrown ahead as he gets closer to the 15. A gain of 8 more yards for James Butler.
You heard the panel at halftime, and this is someone who they'd like to see a little more of here in the second half. The league's 3rd leading rusher, James Butler. Brought over from Hamilton. Brought over to Hamilton from BC in free agency to try and provide a spark to their ground game. Became Hamilton's first 1,000-yard rusher in years.
And back to Butler again on the 2nd and short. To get to about the 21. That's the first down. Just had enough. Some words being exchanged.
Well, even from up here, you can feel the intensity between these two teams picking up as this game goes on. I mentioned a lot of recent history of battles between these two teams in the East Semi.
Has there ever been? And yet you think of last week when the game meant nothing. To suddenly transition a week later, it means everything. Lemon chasing him down, and Schultz gets away. Avery Williams can't get him. He cuts back, and he's finally knocked down by Ugawak. But on the ground, and another good run for Matthew Schultz. He picks up 13 and a first down.
Yeah, Matthew Schultz, nothing opening up here. He knows Lemon's coming from the backside. That internal clock is telling him, I either got to throw or get out of here. And he gets on his horse to move the sticks for the Cats.
Good running quarterbacks today. Mentioning Fajardo, that's 3 carries, 33 yards for Schultz. First down, back to Butler. Tries left, finds an opening, gets through up near the 45. Starting to grind it out along the ground now. 15 more for James Butler.
And there you see Butler's numbers on the season. Carrying and catching the football for the Tiger Cats. Saw becoming just the 4th Ticat with over 1,000 rushing, 500 receiving yards in the same season.
From the Hamilton 44, Butler again. Avery Williams hauls him down, but he does get across the 50. And we'll have a 2nd and short coming up after 7 more yards for the 3rd leading rusher in the Canadian Football League in 2023.
And And the Tiger Cats, if they can continue to have a level of success, with Butler running that football, letting their offensive line get after the Montreal front a little bit, maybe take their legs away a little bit, slow down Sean Lemon and that crew.
Butler's up to 78 yards rushing now. It's the ball in his hands again, so that'll get him over 80 in the game so far. Across midfield, another first down. A drive continues, largely via the ground game now for the Ticats.
A good workmanlike effort here from Hamilton after starting deep in their own territory off the Richard Leonard interception. James Butler and the offensive line have been the key.
Late in the third quarter now. Could be the last play of the third. 6 plays, all running plays by Hamilton. Now in the Alouette zone. Faking to Butler. Oh, it's knocked away. Coming in, Sankey got in the face of Schultz. Batted that one down. Darnell Sankey's having a game. And a big play to end quarter number 3. It was an 8-point difference at the half. They trade field goals. Hamilton ball. But it's still an 8-point Alouette lead heading into the final 15. Still an 8-point game through 3. Still the Alouettes leading it. The numbers through 3. You know, the rushing yards for Hamilton really starting to stand out on this drive. And so too does finally getting a turnover. That big interception by Richard Leonard.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the kind of thing that levels the field a little bit. One of the things that I found really interesting coming into this matchup in general, you and I have talked about it a lot during the week and the lead up to this, is how these teams arrived at the records they have. And particularly this Montreal team, they are a team that literally right down to a game, they beat the teams that are behind them, beat all the teams that are under 500, lost to all the teams that are ahead of them in terms of record. And so they come into this game as favorites because you've got a Hamilton team. They were better than Hamilton during the season. History has shown, you know, Montreal with their kind of efficiency, etc. They win the games they should win, but I think so much of that is based on the fact that you ask yourself, well, why do the teams with losing records have losing records? It's because they make more mistakes, right? And it's not necessarily what Montreal does, but it's the fact that they don't necessarily make a ton of mistakes compared to their opponents. And you look at the Hamilton turnovers that are the difference right now. Hamilton now looking to try and even this game after finally creating one of their own.
They do have the ball. They have run on every single play of this drive. They have it just over midfield, down by 8 points, and got things started after a red zone interception by Richard Leonard, where the Alouettes were looking to really take charge of this game. What a turnaround, what a difference that play has the potential of making. See what Hamilton could do here in a 2nd down and 10 to start the 4th quarter. Off to the right, complete. First down, Omar Bayless taken out of bounds by Deontay Ruffin. First pass in the drive, and it's a big 1-2 for the Ticats.
Yeah, Bayless lining up off the line, out wide. Gonna drive his defender back. Come back to the football. Quick hitter here as the Cats now start to mix things up a little bit.
Gain of 15 yards to the Alouette 39. Hamilton still without a touchdown in this game. Quick decision to run by Schultz. Picks up a couple of yards. A 2nd down and long coming up. Sean Lemon in on the tackle. Just a yard.
Yeah, the Alouettes defense did a nice job that time. Not having big gaps, big separations between their pass rushers that allowed Schultz to find seams on some of his earlier runs.
That's the field half Deontay Evans, who was in this game a year ago as a member of the Hamilton Tiger Cats. 2 years with the Cats. He was with the Alouettes before then, so he knows both sides of this rivalry. Back in Montreal for a 2nd time around, and still in 10th play of this drive. 2nd and 9 for the Montreal 38. Schultz. Four-man rush. It's complete over the middle. Keandre Smith knocked down immediately by Stubblefield and looks to be just shy of a Ticat first down. A gain of about 8 yards. It will be 3rd and short.
It wasn't that far from this territory on the Cats' opening possession that Keandre Smith fumbled the football trying to fight for extra yards. And you wonder a little bit as you saw him just kind of protect the football and get ready to take the hit that time if the previous play was on his mind, just worrying about ball security.
3rd down, yard to go. Kyle Oxley in short yardage. Squeezes through. Marc-Antoine Ducroix is a wrap on it, but he easily gets the first down as this drive will continue.
Well, Loxley getting the nod ahead of Taylor Powell, who was the Ticats starter for half their games this season because of his ability as their short yardage quarterback, versatility as well, a guy who's seen time as a receiver, even as a kick returner for the Tiger Cats this season.
Crazy stat in this game. Tim White has 1 target, no catches. Oh, nearly picked off there. Stubblefield coming in as it was heading White's way.
Yeah, phenomenal recognition here by Stubblefield. You're going to see him just sitting back on the hash mark here. And he recognizes from the formation, from the motion, that they're trying to get the ball to Tim White on that screen. The other guys are just there to block. And he's coming like a torpedo to break that one up.
Would have been gone. Stubblefield moved around in that secondary and in recent weeks making the move to that nickel linebacker position. 2nd and 10. From the 28, the heat is on. Sankey coming in on the blitz, and he takes Schultz down for a huge loss on that 2nd down. What a game for Darnell Sankey.
Well, Darnell Sankey gets mugged up in the line of scrimmage here. He and Sean Lemon side by side. And on the twist, he just manages to beat the center, David Beard.
Eight tackles, 2 sacks, 1 interception for Darnell Sankey. The field goal try for Mark Leggio became a whole lot longer, a 46-yard try now. He's 3 for 3. And Leggio remains perfect in this game. He accounts for all the Ticat points, making it a 5-point game. Oh, Reggie Stubblefield. Great defensive play followed up by his teammate Darnell Sankey to push the Ticats back. 17-12, 4th quarter. Doubleheader playoff Saturday in the CFL Part 2 coming up. BC plays the Lions and the Stampeders with the winner to go to Winnipeg for the Western Final. 2 weeks ago, Calgary went in there and won 41-16, albeit a game that meant more to them than it did to BC, but still a statement before this even bigger one today in the West semifinal coming up on TSN. Hamilton.
Great day of football continues.
Right here, not done yet. 5-point difference. Ticats trailing by 12. William Stanback, and he is greeted. To Garrett Davis. Malik Carney in on that tackle.
Two Tiger Cat defensive ends crashing down to shut that one off. Force the Alouettes into this 2nd and long as the Ticats try to build on the momentum of a field goal coming off their first defensive turnover of the game.
Cody Fajardo's 10 for 18, 145, a touchdown and a pick. 2nd and 8, complete. Jake Hardy reaches over the veteran slot and gets a first down across the 50.
A nice second effort here from the veteran Jake Hardy. Second-round pick in the 2015 CFL draft by Ottawa.
And a long time away from the game because of injuries in 2019. As he healed, went back and helped coach his alma mater, the University of Calgary Dinos. Play action fake. Fajardo. Oh, he thread that in nicely. That is complete. Couple of defenders there. That's Tyson Philpott. And they say, yes, it is a catch, as West Sunderland tries to argue it.
Oh, you see up here?
Take a look at this shot. Philpott. Yeah, I see the little bobble there.
Yeah, it is a challenge flag coming out. You could hear Jagarrett Davis saying, are you sure? Did he have control? It's a catch. Right back over to Tyson Philpott. 23 yards, stands as a catch. Lost yardage there, but have another look.
That's a close one as to exactly where he secures this. We're trying to keep an eye on the ball and on his feet. It all becomes irrelevant.
Second and 11 now. Complete over the middle, open. Tyson Sneed. Tyler Sneed, excuse me. Gets it down to the 15. We hadn't seen much of him in the second half at all. He had a catch back in the first quarter. Tyler Sneed, 23 yards. And another big first down, Montreal.
Sneed, who emerged as the second leading receiver in this Alouette offense behind Austin Mack, despite starting the season on the practice roster.
Down to the 15. Williams standback. Nowhere to go. Dylan Wynn had a lot of time on the injured list this season. In for a big tackle there for Hamilton. Second and long coming up, and some words after the play.
Whenever you face adversity in the course of a season and within the course of a game, you're always looking for a response. After the Tiger Cats get that interception, march and put points on the board. What a great response here by the Montreal Alouettes.
Still one touchdown scored in this game by either team. That was Austin Mack. Here's Fajardo. He dumps it off. DeHardy nearly loses the ball. He keeps it, and he gets into the end zone. Touchdown, Montreal. Seldom used Jake Hardy. This is a huge play in the East Division semifinal and his first touchdown of the year.
Well, Jake Hardy just 6 catches during the regular season. But coming up big with a couple on this drive. One for a second down conversion, the other for a touchdown. You know, and you mentioned, Rod, he spent some time in 2019 coaching at the University of Calgary. One of the guys he was coaching, Tyson Philpott, who also had that big grab on this drive.
Perfect symmetry on this drive. The contribution from some ex-Dinos. Big-time contribution for Hardy. 6 catches on the year, 3 in this game for 31 yards, nearly lost it. Instead, he finds the end zone. Touchdown drive, second one of the day for the Alouettes. And as you talked about, big contribution from some former University of Calgary players.
Yeah, a couple different generations of Calgary Dino receivers coming up big on this particular possession for Montreal. Jake Hardy capping it off with the touchdown.
And mixed in from East Carolina, Tyler Snead with a big one, too, to get him closer. But what a day for Hardy. He won't forget this. 9-year veteran in the Canadian Football League has certainly had ups and downs because of injuries, but 3 catches in this game, and that touchdown that's moved the Alouettes in front 24-12. Tyreek McAllister on the return and up across the 40, but once again the Ticats have some work cut out for them. Down by 12 points. Little bird dance for Jake Hardy in Montreal. We'll be back. Back in Montreal, the Eastern Semi has taken a dramatic turn. Bo Levi Mitchell now in at quarterback for the Hamilton Tiger Cats in relief of Matthew Schultz. We had heard that he would play, we just didn't know when, and now in a desperate situation, 4th quarter trailing by 12, it's Mitchell's turn. A couple of stints in the injured list in his first season with the Cats. He's only had 6 starts with Hamilton.
Yeah, and we all kind of had the impression we would see Bo with more than 6.5 minutes left in this ball game.
Sets up a screen to Butler. Breaks free for a while, gets it up to the 45. One of the all-time great quarterbacks in the history of the Canadian Football League for his time with the Calgary Stampeders. You look at the most career wins board, topped by Anthony Calvillo. But Mitchell standing in there with 92 for his time with the Stamps. Has won a couple of Grey Cups there as well. But what can he do now with under 6 minutes to go in the 4th quarter, needing a couple of scores? Stepping up on the 2nd and 4. He runs. Doesn't run often, but he does get the first down up across the 50. Gain of 5 yards for Mitchell.
And you got to wonder, knowing that a lot of the Tiger Cats' deployment of their quarterbacks is based on situation, based on play calling, anticipating that now down 2 scores, just over 5 minutes to go in this football game. They need some big plays, got to push the ball down the field if this is where they look to the Bo Levi Mitchell section of the playbook.
Up at the Ticat 51 now. Throwing deeper to the left, in coverage for Bayless. Looks like he had him. His helmet comes off and the ball comes out. Kabian Ento and Marc-Antoine Duquois were in on the coverage, and Ento is hurt, and Bayless is also slow to get up on that collision.
Yeah, Ticats taking a shot downfield in traffic. Bayless goes up to get this one. In between a couple of Alouette defenders. You see the range of Duquois coming over to help his corner. Delivering the shot that jars that ball loose.
He did thread it in. It was there to be caught. But after the hit, Bayless couldn't hang on. And I mentioned both he and Ento slow to get up. Ento still down, getting attention. First year corner for the Alouettes. On the wide side, Omar Bayless in his first year. And look at the company he keeps in terms of receiving yards in 2019 in the NCAA. A couple of greats from Louisiana State. Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson.
Current National Football League stars. Bayless putting up those big numbers.
He was hardly used at all as a receiver this season on special teams in his first CFL game in Winnipeg, week 1. Had a touchdown on a blocked punt. And then we didn't hear much from him again until later in the season. Big game against Ottawa, and he's become a fixture in the offense for the Ticats now, ever since the injury to Duke Williams. So he's up. 2nd and 10. Ticat 51. Hamilton trailing by 12, 4th quarter. 3-man rush. Can he get away from Sean Lemon? No, he cannot.
And Lemon called his shot before the game. He told Matthew Shinetti, I don't care who plays quarterback, I'll sack both of them. He has sacked both of them.
Sack number 2 for Lemon. Yes, indeed. He got Matthew Schultz in the first half, and he got to Bo Levi Mitchell there to force a 3rd and long Ticats.
Coming from the bottom of your screen, right side of that defensive line. Sean Lemon against Jordan Murray. Quick fake to the inside for his 7th career postseason sack.
Late in the season, he had career sack number 100 to join an elite club in CFL history. So Hamilton punts. James Letcher with it. And nowhere to run down around the 23 after a punt of 57 yards. Sean Lemon. Dwayne said what he told Matthew before the game. I'll sack them both. He's true to his word, and another big defensive play for Montreal. Trying to get closer to close this out and get another trip back to Toronto. Still lots of time on the clock, though. But in charge, a 12-point lead. And a big hole to get out of for Orlando Steinauer's Ticats now. Montreal football after 22. A year ago, the Alouettes beat the Ticats in the East Semi to advance to the Eastern Final. Trying to do it again. Williams stand back, left side. Lots of room on the left. He's got the edge and a whole lot more. Finally taken down across midfield. Biggest play of the day for Williams Standback. 38 yards for 31.
Yeah, this is one of those plays where you feel like there's a body language thing happening by the way this play unfolds. As Standback got to the outside, I think he was surprised by the lack of resistance from the Hamilton defense out there. They're trying to clog things up in the middle, presumably anticipating that kind of run from Standback at this stage of the game, and he flashes the Jets getting to the outside.
Standback's first 12 carries went for 35 yards. That one alone went for 38. And you know, at this stage of the game, Montreal might be just as happy to keep things on the ground. 3:39 in this fourth quarter. Back to 31. More room. First down inside the 40. 10 exactly for William Standback.
Chewing up yards like he has on these last two touches. Make it an easy decision at this stage of the football game to keep putting the ball in 31's hands until the Hamilton Tiger Cats find an answer.
He had back-to-back 1,000-yard rushing season in 19 and again in 2021, the shortened season coming out of the pandemic break. 800 yards rushing this time around, and running hard in the last couple of plays especially. Last play before the 3-minute warning. Back to Standback. And loses a yard that time around. 2:48 on the clock. The warning is given. Under 3 to go. The Tiger Cat season is running out of time. They need a big comeback. 24-12 Montreal.
From the east to the west, coming up next, it is the Western semifinal, a rematch between the Calgary Stampeders and the BC Lions as soon as the Tiger Cats and Alouettes are all wrapped up.
All right, Kate, just a couple of minutes away, and the Montreal Alouettes are very much in charge with the football in the Ticat zone with a 12-point lead under 3 minutes to go. They have led most of this game. 2.5 minutes. Fajardo, he steps up, calls his number, he gets it down inside the 30.
Good play call, nice execution there with that hitch screen look to widen out the defense. And then the quarterback draw right up the middle, Fajardo. Been terrific using his legs in this ball game.
4 carries, 62 yards for Cody Fajardo. Day in his own right on the ground, as has been on this drive, especially for William Standback. Heading down towards 2 minutes now. Stand back. Grinds out a few more. The runs of Cody Fajardo. Been some big ones, Dwayne.
Yeah, he set the tone, I thought, early in this football game. Tucking and taking off with that one. We've seen it on a few more occasions. Shades of 2019, Cody Fajardo. Going full dual threat against the Hamilton Tiger Cats here.
Part of the change in the Alouettes in the offseason. New head coach in Jason Moss, new starting quarterback in Cody Fajardo. Some key additions along the way. On the defense in Sean Lemon, Darnell Sankey during the season. They've had big games.
Well, yeah, that's one of the storylines that stands out to me in this game. And obviously, you know, X's and O's are a big part of the game of football, but I have a great fascination with how teams are built, and once you have all the chess pieces in place, how do you use them? And when you look at Montreal, this is a team that had some trouble because of the uncertain ownership situation, getting free agents to come in the offseason. Cody Fajardo, fortunately, they were able to make that move. His history with Jason Moss, a contributing factor there. But some of the things happened a little bit later when you talk about Sean Lemon and Darnell Sankey joining this team in season. And now you look in their biggest game of 2023 to date, and the massive impact those guys have had. Huge credit goes to Danny Machocha for the job he's done and the patience that he has had in putting this roster together.
And Danny Machocha was the head coach of this team, reluctantly, we should add, last year when he did take over, and he had made it clear he wouldn't coach past last season as the general manager. Happy to just take on that role, and brought in Jason Moss. They had a long association, of course, from their Edmonton days together. And for Fajardo, you heard Matthew talk about this, that Fajardo had said he wasn't sure if he was going to play again, didn't know what his future was, had it not been for Jason Moss in bringing them over to Montreal. And they're a minute 50 and counting closer to a date in the Eastern Final against Toronto. Stand back again. They keep it on the ground. On a 2nd and 6, get a little bit closer as the clock ticks down to 1:38.
Yeah, things getting a little heated at the line of scrimmage. Cody Fajardo in there telling his guys to stay out of it. Keep playing ball, stick with the game plan. You know, we saw Avery Williams on the sideline a minute ago. Williams, one of the free agents Montreal did sign during the offseason. He had that forced fumble on Hamilton's opening possession of this football game. So a lot of new faces to Montreal having an impact here. This rebuilt Alouettes team.
There was a lot of discussion on what to do. It's a 3rd and 2, 12-point lead. They're bringing in David Cote to kick the field goal and see if they can make it. It would still be a 2-score game, but they could move it up to 15. A 29-yard field goal try from Cote is coming up. Zima puts it down. Cote puts it through. Alouettes lead by 15 with 1:18 on the clock. Twisted T, tackle your thirst. A thirst for sacks for Sean Lemon.
Absolutely, Sean Lemon. Fueling his thirst, getting after first. Matthew Schultz, then welcoming Bo Levi Mitchell into the ball game. Said he'd sack them both, he did.
Tackle your thirst, presented by Twisted Tea. And Sean Lemon, what a memorable year. When the season started, he didn't have a team. A great year with the Stampeders. Did not sign back after last season. And waited and liked the chance to go to the Alouettes. And yeah, he's made the most of that. And Northorpe's defense. Danny Machocha, there he is. He's been a head coach, been a general manager with Edmonton years ago before building up the University of Montreal Carabin program into national champions, and came back a few years ago to be the general manager of the Alouettes, and even stepping back to be a head coach again last year.
Danny's done a terrific job. We've talked today about the impact of many of his draft choices making their way into the starting lineup. Free agent acquisitions.
Tyreek McAllister up across the 35. 1:11 to go as the Alouettes are getting closer to their rematch against the Toronto Argonauts. Not a memorable year for Bo Levi Mitchell, to be sure, coming on with just a little over 6 minutes to go in this game after Matthew Schultz got the start. Difficult year with injuries, hurt in week 2 in Toronto, put on the 6th game, came back, 1 game in Ottawa. At the very end of that game, last play, suffered a fracture in his lower leg, had to sit out a long stretch again. Never really got a chance to get in rhythm with this Hamilton Tiger Cat offense. And a monstrous hill to climb now with barely a minute to go. Deep over the middle, nearly intercepted by Stubblefield.
A situation here where the Tiger Cats have no choice but to be aggressive, trying to push the ball down the field. Montreal knows it. They're not going to give Bo a whole lot in the way of windows to try to make a big play here.
The Alouettes went 0-3 against the Argos this season, but we'll say this, the 2 games here at Molson Stadium were very close. They both went down to the wire against Toronto. And for the top receiver in the Canadian Football League and an East Division All-Star, it has not been a memorable day for Tim White. No catches. Down there in his direction, it's intercepted by Marc-Antoine Ducroix. And this is a fitting way for it to end as that Owls defense stands up again. Ducroix takes it away from White, runs out, and the celebration can start here at Molson Stadium. Rusher in the history of the Canadian Football League looking on, and many of those yards came with the Alouettes.
Well, Marc-Antoine Ducroix once again from his free safety position, ranging sideline to sideline to help out over the top, comes up with another takeaway, another one of those draft picks. Guy Danny Machocha has at Université de Montréal, the Carabin program.
A lot of praise from his head coach, too, as we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
For the way he conducts himself, the passion, how he represents his team, his province, his culture. Jason Moss has loved being in Montreal for this. His first year with the Alouettes. Stand back and, oh, yeah, we got this going on. And
yeah,
oh my goodness, an official
this started with Chris Edwards throwing Jake Hardy to the ground and throwing a punch.
It's getting ugly here.
Yeah, if I'm Montreal and I know I'm playing next week, I'm not getting it. Getting involved.
Get them out. In the melee, you saw an official get knocked down to the field. This could take a while to sort out, as you see coaches, staff in the mix, just trying to get everybody separated back to their benches. And you're right, at this point, Alouettes have a lot more on the line than the Ticats do. Tim Croker, the referee, trying to restore some calm here. So this subdues the celebration for a moment at least, as the tempers flare. 43 seconds to go in this game. Stampeders and Lions, the West Division semifinal is coming up here on TSN.
So this started, watch off the right side of the formation. You're going to see Chris Edwards rushing. Jake Hardy comes up to the line of scrimmage to block him. Stay on this matchup. Edwards throws the Montreal receiver to the ground. Appears to throw a punch at the end of it. That led to players coming off the Montreal sideline. Is saying down there, and I'm going to tell you flat out, I agree with him 100%. His team didn't escalate this. His team didn't instigate this, and they're the only ones who have anything to lose from this.
Yeah, that's the big problem I have with it too, is that it's the stakes are much higher for the Alouettes with the game in the East Final and the risk of losing any of their players for that game in Toronto. Shot there from Chris Edwards, who heads towards the dressing room. We assume that he's out of this game. 43 seconds to go. A sour ending here in this game, and it's been a sweet one for the Alouettes as they can look ahead a rematch against the Toronto Argonauts, the East Final, and that will be the right to go to Grey Cup 110 in Hamilton. You can watch that here on TSN, 2 Eastern, 11 Pacific, next Saturday.
On this one play,
Saturday.
Saturday, Sunday. The Grey Cup is on Sunday. So we don't want to get people thinking that that's changed. That has not. That will be on Sunday.
As usual,
November 19th. And the Ticats, who 2 years ago advanced, beat the Argos at BMO to host that Grey Cup 108 against Winnipeg, and went to overtime. Oh, so close, but playoff loss here in Montreal last year, and 43 seconds away from another playoff loss to the Alouettes here at Molson Stadium.
Well, the intensity cranked up here at the end of this game. It just continues from here with the West Semi coming to you from Vancouver up next.
And that'll be to decide who goes to Winnipeg to face the Blue Bombers in the West Division Final. Jeshurun Antwi, one of the players talked about.
Yeah, Antwi was the first guy who came flying off the Montreal bench and went after Chris Edwards. So obviously leaving the bench, there's going to be a penalty for that. Ejection as well. Antwi leading the charge from the bench. Mason Bennett of the Tiger Cats stepped into Antwi, knocking him into the official.
So they've taken a long time to sort all of this out. This is finally the announcement of the punishment.
We have multiple fouls after the play. All misconduct fouls. Against Montreal, we have unnecessary roughness against number 19, 15-yard penalty. We have unnecessary roughness, Montreal 20 for coming off the bench, 15-yard penalty and an ejection. We have major foul against Hamilton, number 24, rough play disqualification, 25-yard penalty. We also had 2 unnecessary roughness penalties for 15 yards against Hamilton, 80 and 90, both coming off the bench, both disqualifications. The difference is 25 yards from where the ball went dead. It's first down.
As announced by the referee, Tim Croker. So the bottom line, 43 seconds on the clock, still Alouette football and moving up. And there was a smile earlier on the face of Jason Moss, but back to some tension now with what just happened. And he's got a team that's going to be playing next week. Down to the Final Four of the CFL. Into the Eastern Final. And by the way, as a footnote to all of this, for the Ticats, Jagarrett Davis mentioned that run he had of all those appearances in the Grey Cup. There you see him on the screen at the top, 56. He's never had a year where he has not gone to the Grey Cup, whether it's with Calgary, Hamilton, or Toronto. Well, that run of appearances is about to come to an end.
6 straight seasons with 3 different teams.
We do wonder about the futures, mentioning Bo Levi Mitchell, about Simone Lawrence too, and a great career he's had with the Hamilton Tiger Cats. What about his future as well? In victory formation are the Montreal Alouettes. Cody Fajardo puts an E down, 17 seconds. And this crowd here at Molson Stadium remaining raucous. Final game for the Alouettes here. They're hoping they still have 2 games to go.
Well, we talked about 2 trends in Montreal's record.
The Alouettes are going back to BMO. They're going to face the Toronto Argonauts again for the right to go to Grey Cup 110. A victory for Cody Fajardo in his first year with the Alouettes. They had a lot of change, but the result over the Ticats remains the same.
Yeah, it certainly did, with new faces having a big impact in this ball game. You look at 2 trends in Montreal's record. They've beaten the teams that had worse records than them. They kept that streak alive. The other trend, they aim to break that one next week. They haven't beaten any of the teams with better records than them. If they want to get to the Grey Cup, they got to break that streak against Toronto next Saturday.
Sean Lemon told Matthew Shinetti before the game he'll sack them both, and he did. Let's go down to Matthew with Lemon now.
Well, Sean, do you have any more predictions for me after that game?
That's it. I told you. Don't matter who they play, I'm sacking both of them. No, I'm just proud of this team, man. We put the work in practice. You know, we're always that team that's overlooked. We just come to work. It don't matter, man. I'm just excited for this city, excited for this team.
You talked about overlooked. You didn't have a job until July. There was ownership issues here, free agent issues, and there were injuries at training camp. What has kept this team together?
And we just got that blue-collar work ethic. We come to work every day. We compete. We enjoy being around one another, man. And we're just ready to go to work next week and compete again.
2017, you and Cody Fajardo were part of that Argos team that won a Grey Cup. You're going back to BMO Field. Any message for Chad Kelly and the Argos?
Can't wait. See you in Toronto.
Rod?
And Matthew, let me close it this way, Dwayne. They go against a team that they have not beat this year. Montreal's chances now against that Argonaut 16-2 machine. They have had some close games with them.
Well, they certainly have, and you've got a Montreal team that, you know, the one thing that they have an opportunity to gain this week that Toronto doesn't is momentum. And I think this is the kind of win for Montreal that's something they can build on, something from which their confidence grows as they keep a late season winning streak alive, going in to face their biggest test yet in the 16-2 Toronto Argonauts. Well, in the playoffs, Montreal's 1-0, Toronto's 0-0.
Chris Van Zyl could be it for him after a long and great career. But you think of Cody Fajardo as well, and the way things ended in Saskatchewan last year, off to a division final for the third time. He had a couple with the Riders. Montreal, Toronto next week. We have another game to play today as we head back to Kate Burness in the studio.
Alongside David Sanchez, Matt Dunnigan, Milt Siegel, Jim Barker, Paul Lapalisse standing by as well. And as Rod just mentioned, it will be the Montreal Alouettes and the Toronto Argonauts once again in the Eastern Final. Should be a fantastic game. Was a phenomenal game by Sean Lemon. And I love when players say something like, I'm going to sack whoever is in the game. He did just that. He was sensational. We will give some love to Montreal in just a moment. But right now, we have to go back to the decision of quarterback for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Started with Matthew Schultz. It was 6:38 left in the fourth quarter. In comes Bo Levi Mitchell, and they were down by 12, and it really was an unwinnable situation for Bo. But with their thoughts on that, let's go over to Lapo and JB. And just obviously for Bo, that's not the way you want to end it, but for Schultz as well, too. I mean, he never really could get anything going in this game.
Yeah, it was at halftime. I felt like if you're going to do what you did in the first quarter, then Schultz should stay in. If you're going to do things you did in the second quarter, you probably need to go to Bo Levi. So as it turned out, as it played out, they tried to run the ball, but then they got behind farther, and they ended up, Bo Levi maybe should have come in a few series earlier. I know the sack that took him out of field goal range was a huge play. But again, Lapo, it's a tough decision. It's a tough situation for Bo Levi with those young tackles in there against those guys rushing the passer when you know you're going to throw the ball. So it was a tough situation, and again, not a great way for the season to end for him.
Yeah, and I thought that after Matthew Schultz struggled on second and long, and then like you said, when he took the sack that caused a very long field goal, but after that it was 17-12, 5-point game with 11 minutes left. You might have seen Bo Levi Mitchell if the defense got a 2-and-out. But hats off to Montreal. They had a 7-play drive, took 4 minutes off the clock, and scored a touchdown. Once they did that, that put Bo Levi Mitchell's opportunities to, like you said, young tackles. You're going to have to throw it every time. So I thought kind of the quarterback struggled, but also the Hamilton defense struggled at times, and so did the special teams. They didn't create any explosives to help this Hamilton offense.
Yeah.
I think overall, too, that's kind of the theme. It was all three phases that were struggling when it came to the Hamilton Tiger Cats. As we take a look at Matthew Schultz's stats in this game, 13-23 at 144 yards in the air. He had that one pick, carried the ball 4 times, and we talked about him using his legs before the game, and he did at times. But it really didn't seem like he was getting anything else around him. At halftime, Matty, you said that you want to see him continue to play. He did, but the whole team struggled in this one.
Yeah, and it wasn't so much the Hamilton offense and Scott Milanovich and what he was trying to get accomplished. It was the Montreal defense that was dictated this football game. And I really believe, and it's hard to second guess, but from a quarterback's perspective, just get me in the game. And if I'm Bo Levi Mitchell, we know his pedigree. He just wants to compete and go out there and show it. I just don't know if he still has it in the tank. And he went for 4 in the pick, in an unwinnable situation late when Montreal was pinning their ears back. So it was one of those situations you can second guess till you're blue in the face, but it's not going to happen, not going to help anything. That football team was outmatched today by the Montreal defense. And what we saw offensively with Montreal, Kate, I can tell you, was their blueprint for success from the beginning of the football season. Pound the line of scrimmage on 1st and 10, and they did that. 18 out of 29 first down attempts. They ran the football. William Stanback just under 100 yards. He had a couple big runs in the second half, broke it open. To me, that's the difference.
Let's get you back to Montreal. Matthew Shinetti standing by with Cody Fajardo.
Cody, your band of misfit toys, as you said to me yesterday, is headed to the East Final. After everything this team has had to overcome this season, how significant was this game?
It was a huge game. We knew that Hamilton was going to come in and play their best football, and they did. And a red zone pick down there almost turned the tide, but our team never withered, and that's what I told you guys leading up to this game. The thing that I'm most proud about this team is when things don't go our way, we don't point fingers. And we went out there, and the offense came out. We scored the next drive. Our defense held them to 3. It was huge, and so this was a full team effort tonight. That's the only way you can win playoff games.
And to that point, Austin Mack makes a play, Ugoak makes a play, Sean Lemon has sacks. Going into the East Final, how important is it going to be to make sure that everyone kind of maintains, as I was hearing coming out of the locker room, don't change anything?
Absolutely. We know we're going against a 16-2 club, right? They're a very good football team, and we got to play our best ball to have a chance to beat them. And it's at their house too. But we're a group that can't come together. A lot of young guys who are experienced now, and I couldn't be any more prouder of this team.
Talk about 2017. You scored that game-winning touchdown against the Saskatchewan Roughriders that took the Argos to the Grey Cup in that year. What does that moment mean to you to go back against your old team?
There's a lot of memories on that field, and winning a Grey Cup with that team and being with the Argos for 3 years, right? There's a lot of connection and a lot of fans that still reach out to me. It's going to be a surreal moment. It's going to be emotional, but I'm just happy to be in the East Final, and this team deserves to be in that opportunity. And so we got to go out and, like I said, play our best ball and have a chance to win.
Congrats, Cody.
Thank you very much.
Cody's voice sounds like when we're done a triple header here on the CFL on TSN. Let's get a little love to Sean Lemon now. And as Matthew alluded to in his interview, he didn't even have a job at the beginning of July. He was waiting for teams at that point. He knew he still had something left in him. And he has been such a spark for this team, Milton. He was phenomenal in this game today.
Yeah, as Matt mentioned, you know, this defense was strong in this game. It's been a strong point of this team all season long. And Sean Lemon, once again, had a great game. And he somewhat is clairvoyant because he said something before this game that came true. Let's see what old Mr. Lemon said.
Does it matter to you who the quarterback is?
Doesn't matter. I sacked both of them.
And that's exactly what he did. He sacked Matthew Schultz, and when Bo Levi Mitchell came in again, he sacked him too. So it's crazy to think that this man, as Kate mentioned, didn't have a job at the beginning of the season. He had to wait basically till week 5 or 6. But when he stepped on the field, not only this defense, but this entire team, their energy level, the way they stepped on the field, everything changed for the better. Sean Lemon deserves a lot of credit for what this team is doing and where they are and the fact that they're in the East Final. Sean Lemon has been great for this team.
Noel Thorpe, defensive coordinator, the defensive players on that team, this defense has carried them over the last month. You look at their numbers. They've given up an average of less than 15 points a game over the last 5 weeks. This defense has been outstanding. Now, taking care of the football was the #1 thing. Talking to folks in Montreal going into this game, they felt like they would win this game as long as they took care of the football. And the reason, they believe in their defense. They weren't going to come out and say it, but they thought that they would shut down the Hamilton Tiger Cats. If they took care of the ball, it was a given they were going to win this game. And look at the last 5 weeks, 20, 21, 3, 15, and 11 in the Canadian Football League. So hats off to Noel Thorpe, hats off to those guys, and kind of a nameless group, too. Not a lot of stars on that defense other than Sean. And not a lot of stars, but they've been outstanding.
That they have. So they're off to meet the Toronto Argonauts once again in the Eastern Final. You can see that on November the 11th. Pre-game, nice and early once again, 2 Eastern, 11 Pacific. We'll see if the Alouettes can solve the 16-2 Toronto Argonauts. And we'll see if VA, Vernon Adams Jr. and the BC Lions can send the Calgary Stampeders home. Winnipeg Blue Bombers awaiting the winner of this one.